All right, here we go with another stream. Still trying to figure out if you can do new things in Standard. This is not, calling this a new thing may be an exaggeration a little bit. It's a deck that I thought was really interesting back in the era of Jeskai Luka, before the Companion nerf and the Agent of Treachery ban took that deck out of the running. And the deck felt pretty good against most things that weren't Jeskai Luka. So here I am trying it again. It's sort of a blend of a couple things. We've got a cat deck, but also sort of the blue-green ramp cards that everyone knows are broken are here, and we've got Yorion, which actually does a surprising amount in this deck. Not only does it give you extra cat and goose triggers, it also untaps Witch's Oven to get another cat run with that. Gives you another food off Trail of Crumbs, gives you another mill off Mire Triton, another token off Woe Strider, another token off Bastion of Remembrance. So even though Yorion's not outstanding in this deck, it still does a good amount, and it's a free card you can play. Of course, it means that we are sort of, running less of our core engine here. You're going to draw fewer Cat Oven draws of your deck's 80 cards. It's hard to tell whether the power of Yorion is worth losing that. Sideboard's a thrown together mess, as is often the case. I love Massacre Girl. I don't know if Massacre Girl is playable now. I haven't seen Massacre Girl around in a long time, but she's here. Maybe we'll get to massacre some folks at some point, if you're running the new Mono Black deck, for example. But for now, let's take this to the ladder. This may be mostly a Temur Clover stream because I am in a mood to climb, and I do think that Clover is my best deck for climbing. But I'm also excited about the prospects of this one. Good evening there, Began. Also, this is only my second stream in my new office. That is, we had a housemate move out, and so I've changed the location I'm streaming from, which means we haven't gotten things like sound and lighting perfectly firmed up yet. So if you're noticing anything, geez, this hand. It's like Clover Beanstalk, but somehow feels even dirtier. I guess because it's all four of the cards. Well, if I'm not going to be playing Nissa and Ugin, at least I get to play a deck that gives me some free wins in other ways. Although Ugin, of course, is a big threat to what this deck is trying to do, which is assemble a big board that's hard to interact with. So we will be trying to play carefully against Ugin decks. So what's even the proper way to start this? This is just like turn 1 Goose, and then turn 2 Trail, try and dig for a third land, or if we draw a third land, we could just go Cat Oven at that point. Also have to watch out for Scavenging Ooze. Maybe that the presence of Ooze makes this kind of deck hard to pull off. All right, second Trail, so super interested in just doing this. And then at this point, we have so much engine power that I really just want to hit every land drop I possibly can, which is why I've started here. I believe that as long as I'm hitting every land drop, I should be able to keep up with even a, big control deck over here. Birth of Meletus. All right. Well, a couple possibilities come to mind. One is it's just straightforward blue-white control. I also did stream Birth of Meletus deck at one point, a Jeskai Transmogrify, so I'll have to watch out for some Dream Trawlers. Also, it's been a while since I played a cat deck, so I might be a little slow with some of these triggers. I will try to remember to actually sack my arrows before they go away. Oh, Cardboard Live needs to be up, sorry. It's not going to be on Cardboard Live yet, because Cardboard Live is not open, but should pop up there pretty soon after this. Imagine a cat deck with 4 Growth Spiral, 4 Uro, and Bastion of Remembrance over Mayhem Devil, and you've pretty much got your list right there, I think. So I just want to Trail again, I believe. Gives me 2 Trail triggers next turn. This does open me up, I guess, to the cat or the oven getting countered, but I have so many Trail activations, and I'm not sure I mind my opponent's getting that form of card advantage. Like, honestly, what are you even going to do? Narset Parter of Veils, not... Alright, that does make Growth Spiral a little bit annoying, but we didn't need to play that one anytime soon, so whatever. What would I play in the standard metagame challenge, Wax and Lyrical? Well, I think if it's blue, green, or Bant Ramp, Temur Clover is still pretty good against those decks. Yorion You could just play Witch's Taria Kakume's #1 mono black deck. I imagine that's a pretty strong list, which is a very, very good deck builder and player. Yep, I don't have any great new ideas for you here. I would either play a deck that's been doing well in tournaments, or if you're good at Temur Clover, playing Temur Clover against ramp, a ramp meta seems fine to me. Alright, Tef has been fetched. Let's get us some trail triggers. At this point, we're really just looking for Citadel, more ovens to go with the cat stuff. Yeah, I'll take an oven over another land here just because we have enough triggers at this point that I'm pretty confident we can hit these. Now I will take the swamp. I do want to make sure I'm still making a land drop every turn. There's a Citadel, okay. So I could go cat oven and get 2 triggers, or I could go cat oven and get 1 trigger, except I still get 2 triggers because I can use the goose. Huh. Well, let's start here. Maybe my opponent will just scoop to the second oven. You could always just go for the maybe they'll scoop plan. Yeah, let's just get both ovens out and just get this show underway. Lots of clicking coming up, which is the thing I never liked about these decks. So this is not necessarily a deck I would want to play for a long period of time. It is one where I'm curious to see whether it's good or not. I'm trying to remember if blue-white has any weird tricks I have to watch out for. Unless they're running like main deck Heliod's Intervention, I think the answer is probably no. Curious if this is like blue-white Yorion. Also wondering if this interplanar beacon implies a splash of some kind, or if they're just playing a bunch of Narsets, Tefs, and maybe the other Tef. I guess we'd have to watch out for Tef Ultimate. That's like a low curve thing this deck could do that would be pretty threatening if they just get Teferi Master of Time. They are struggling a little bit as far as they can cast Teferi Master of Time. They don't have double blue for like Absorb yet. Yeah, Wax and Lyrical, I wish I had more to tell you. Alright, well, here we go with this dance. Okay, so looking for lands still, I think. I'm looking to get Citadel down probably in 2 turns. It is notable that obviously can't take Uro because there's an Narset in play. I'm going to decline to pay from there, just bring this back. And now I'm going to have to click decline every time, which is a little bit but... Actually, maybe I will just trigger the goose here. Nah. A little more flexibility next turn after I draw a card to decide what I'm going to do. Okay, Elspeth Conquers Death was their card. Priest of Forgotten Gods is not that interesting. I think this turn's gonna be like just cast Bastion of Remembrance and go from there. I guess they could have Elspeth Conquers Death for the Bastion of Remembrance, but I'm still gonna get a lot of triggers. Could try to put Yorion into play at some point, because Yorion actually threatens to attack some Planeswalkers and stuff. Let's just go Bastion. I'm just going to keep drawing several cards every turn. I also love that this actually lets me maybe attack Narset to death. Can also, of course, cast Growth Spiral and get the draw a card effect around Narset, but I think it's more efficient to just be getting 2 select cards off the top of my deck every turn. Okay, so they're Esper. Esper without Yorion. What does black mana indicate could happen? I don't really know. They are now holding up a potential, I guess, negate. But Citadel can probably come down safely next turn, although there's really no rush. Ideally, I would have a Woe Strider in play before I Citadel, but they're really omening. So they just really want to figure out what to be bouncing with the Tef. Well, JFB, this is what a sack deck without Mayhem Devil could kind of look like. I mean, obviously you lose Priest and Growth Spiral, you lose Citadel, so the deck would be completely different, but the Eldraine part of the combo is still really powerful, and there are a lot of different ways that cards can combo with it. I can imagine these decks just playing Kroxa, for example. Kroxa and Mire Triton. In a powered down standard, I think the cat combo is still going to be pretty fierce. It'll be much easier for Temur Clover to beat without Mayhem Double, though, that's for sure. Sofa, yeah, I mean, it's a cute option. I think the Answering Medieval will be a bit of a boring one, but usually in games where you can get off a Rampage of the Clans and win with it, you'll probably have enough artifacts and enchantments in play to win anyway. There is a sense in which you could try to do like turbo food stuff, and maybe maybe the turbo food plan where you just start trying to sack Uro to Witch's Oven really early and then using Rampage with that, and maybe using other like big temporary creatures. But yeah, I think Rampage is pretty unexciting in that in a Teferi world it's pretty hard to actually get the attack in time. Like obviously this exact game it would have been pretty nice, but hard to get that off. All right, so I'll take another land drop here. I admittedly don't have enough black for Citadel next turn. I could also grab Mire Triton just because it attacks. I'll take the land drop. Still pretty down to be hitting land drops. Bone's just done. Okay. Okay, so blue-white control. I guess I want some Thought Distortions. Priest of Forgotten Gods does not excite me very much. I guess they might board Narset out because it doesn't really seem like it hits anything for them, but I still don't like Priest very much. Priest is notably kind of like an answer to Dream Trawler. I'm just going to bring in some Agonizing Remorses. And what else am I cutting? Could cut some Uros, because Uro is also really bad against Narset. Yeah, I could see Uro coming out. Actually, let me bring all the Uros out. Just bring in some more like heavy hitting cards like... I wanted to bring in all the casualties to like clear their planeswalkers and stuff, but that is a lot of... That is a lot of 6-drops to be playing. Do I want to cut all the Uros? What? How many cards is this right now? Legit not sure. 36, 16. My screen's slightly cut off by this sidebar. 260. All right, this is 80. Let's try it. It's a lot of 6-drops. A lot of 6-drops. Might be too many 6-drops. We'll see. Evening, Srizium. All right, this hand is similarly really good, so I'm in. And again, just going to start with the Goose. And then I have the option to go for Trail or for Cat Oven next turn. Okay, well, I guess they can't stop Trail of Crumbs, so I'm just going to play that again. Sorry, opponent. Did not mean for the draws to be this broken, but they were, so there you go. Nice 80-card deck, Aaron. One thing I like to look at whenever I'm playing a new deck and the new deck is doing well is to say, all right, would Temur Clover be winning this game easily? And Temur Clover certainly beats the heck out of the deck our opponent's playing. So I'm going to want more evidence that this thing is good. There's Narset, sure. So Narset means the opponent can dig for, I guess Grafdigger's Cage is a thing. That's definitely a good reason to be playing Casualties of War. I will want to be trying to be ready for a cage or something. Huh. In fact, I'm probably supposed to be running not the Agonized Remorses, but just some kind of permanent-based artifact enchantment removal. Crashing Brontonon. I will take another Trail of Crumbs over a land. I got plenty of lands. And would like to have some cage-proof engines. And I think we're just doing the same thing we did before here. Drowning Fish. Oh, nobody plays Temur Clover much except me because that's just the kind of person I am. But I still think the deck is pretty good. Brad Nelson sent me a Facebook message today, which was just the text, "Is Temur Clover playable?" ? And then I looked at my Facebook auto responses, and my Facebook auto response was yes. So I'm excited to announce that maybe Temur Clover is playable. So I'm not sacking the food yet because if they do target a food with Tef, I'd like to be able to sack that food in response so that they don't draw the card or anything. But yeah, I think Temur Clover is playable. I think it struggles with the same things it used to struggle with. I think the addition of Ugin to the Bant ramp decks is honestly probably a net positive. Ugin's not very good against you, and Green Trawler I found much scarier than Ugin. But I haven't played enough of matches yet to know whether that's actually true. It could be that Ugin cuts off enough of your kind of aggro games that it actually does meaningfully make the matchup harder. I'd rather see an Ugin than a 6/6 Krasis. I'd rather see an Ugin than a Dream Trawler any day of the week. Third Trail? Yeah, sure. Whatever. I'll take a third Trail. Buy Gilded Goose. I think this is probably going to be Cat Oven turn. And do I play a Goose out or not? I think I will play the Goose out as well and miss a Trail trigger, but I get another way to trigger food in case the opponent does have a cage next turn. What would Facebook autocomplete be playing right now? That would be pretty good, actually. Just you probably build a machine learning algorithm to like do deck predictions. You could start on like a random. It would probably, if it were built on like existing standard deck lists, it would probably build something that just looked exactly like a mixed up Bant ramp deck. But maybe there's some more interesting way you could seed the thing. Yeah, Governor, I don't think that's unreasonable. It's been proposed before. I've sort of vaguely considered it. I think it's seems okay if the thing you're worried about is Hydroid Krasis, because obviously counter spells are not going to touch that one. And yeah, Narset could be fine against cycling. I would expect it mostly just to be like Uro Krasis things. Ooh, Spyglass. Okay. I'm guessing that one's going to come down on my poor Witch's Oven. Or would you name Cauldron Familiar? I think the real fun thing to do would be to name Cauldron Familiar. But usually people just name Oven. So now I would like a land drop. I'll take that one, yep. Passion of Remembrance is also going to be great to give us a bit of wrath protection and stuff. Still do want to get rid of this Narset, just because I do have some growth spirals in the deck. Gilded Goose, okay. Opponent chose not to go after the cat or the oven. Maybe they've got an intervention for... Nope. All right. I do wonder if they have both Spyglass and Cage. I'd be a little surprised. Spyglass also isn't standard, so maybe their sideboard isn't standard. That's a Nicol Bolas Dragon God. Nice mana base. Nice mana base. Okay. Well, I'm gonna poke. Narset, I suppose. Also, easier to cycle when Narset's gone, that sort of thing. Alright, so... Geez, I just had pretty insubstantial choices to make. I think I just go third trail because it just draws me 3 more cards, and why not? I will actually start sacking the cat now, because if I get a second oven down, I probably want to play a second oven. So we'll activate one at a time. If we find an oven, we'll stop activating and play the second oven. Triome Goose. Goose is turned off, but does give us an extra food, and it does sack to Citadel because it's a permanent. I think I take the Goose. I think we're not going to be missing land drops anytime soon. And... one other card, I just want to play like another cat, so I actually have another creature on the board to attack these planeswalkers. I think I decline here. I'm just going to make another cat. I don't think there's anything my opponent's going to do. It's going to exile all the cats. I am wary of Ugin. Person's playing Interplanar Beacon, Nicol Bolas in this Esper deck. There's probably Ugins afoot. Oh, my opponent doesn't realize also that Spyglass doesn't shut off Goose. My opponent did not realize that Spyglass doesn't shut off Goose. So we're going to be using Goose next turn. Yeah. I was like, this Goose is highlighted. Oh, yeah. You know, sometimes I'm sure you all have probably done this at some point in your games too. You know, you can just like make a play with so much conviction that even though it's like against the rules, your opponent will just believe in you. Oh, well, now I don't want to use the goose here because I'm just going to be able to bring back these cats, so that's fine. Cool Shatter, bro. Castle Vantress in the Nicol Bolas deck. Why? Why do it to yourself? No remorse. Have some mercy for yourself. Some mercy for your poor deck. Trying to let you cast your spells and stuff. So our deck's been kind to us and hasn't been giving us a ton of 6-drops so far. It is awkward that Casualties of War doesn't get hit by Trail, and also... Yeah, so I have plenty of food. I'm just going to bring back these cats to do some attacking. I don't care about the wasted trails or whatever. It's a shame that I can't hit Casualties or Thought Distortion off of the trails. Probably be thinking a little bit more about what permanent-based options might be better in those spots. Tito, this deck I'm playing, this is literally my first match with the deck, and I'm up against something really non-standard, and I had absolute absurd, like, couldn't possibly be better nut draws in both games. So I would not say I've collected enough data to have any kind of satisfactory opinion on the matter yet. Let's beat down this Narset. I guess there's some danger that if they bounce my oven, they might be able to counter on the way back down, but whatever. Let's just clear the Narset off the board. Not really worried about much here. I think if you do craft this, you should probably put some Thrashing Brontodons in it. I wish I had some Thrashing Brontodons right now. I don't know where they would go, though. I also don't know if you should even play 60 or 80 cards in this kind of shell. Okay, so ideally I would like to find another oven this turn. Maybe think about getting Yorion into my hand at this point. Could only have 2 counterspells at most over there. Pay 1 more. And think not paying more at this point. It's going to go Strider plus Goose. At this point, even if they do have the Miraculous Heliod's intervention to kill all my stuff, I just play Citadel, and with Woe Strider in play, Bolas' Citadel, and a bunch of creatures, Bolas' Citadel is usually going to end games. But it's also very, very close to just getting killed by Citadel just sacking all my permanents. Yeah, Kevlar Man, that's almost certainly true. Honestly, Mayhem Devil's good and all, but what I really want to be able to play is Cindervines right now. All right, opponent understands what they did wrong. They're gonna try and redo. I guess I should have thought about that play a little bit. Still, though, there's no one thing that can Spyglass that's going to be all that effective for them. And they do actually have to think about blocking pretty soon. If they think about blocking, that means Citadel gets to just eat them. Yeah, Tiki Rev, we could count on draws this busted every time I would just play Azusa. I think there probably is like a good... Alright, fine. Be that way. What'd you name there? Now, it's finally naming Cauldron Familiar. Cool. Well, time to get some Citadel stuff going. Agonizing Remorse. It is something I haven't had before, but I would rather... I don't know. There's got to be something slightly better than that to hit. Casualties of War, actually, so I can just kill this Spyglass would be the best thing I could hit. Is another oven important? Well, Cauldron Familiar's turned off. Another oven is not that important, so I'm going to put that on the bottom. Yeah, I think I'm just looking for Casualties of War at this point, and everything else just gets rejected. Oh, Fabled Passage would have been good for the Bolas' Citadel turn. That was another consideration. I'm just being greedy because I have infinite card draw. I don't really care about what's going on here. Okay, well, we did all the little things you're supposed to do if you're playing the deck right. Let's just get Citadel down. They might have an ECD in there. Darn it, I probably shouldn't. I should probably just set up for another Citadel turn here. So this is my graveyard over here. This is my non-graveyard. Let's go Just play some more creatures here, actually. Opponent's still pretty far off of doing nickel bolus things. And this didn't feel like a super promising Citadel turn. I'm just casting it naked with nothing else on the board. I'll go for another Goose, another Strider. Yeah, let's just see if they have the third Shatter. Let's see if they have the third Shatter. Gary Mella, probably until 9 PST or a little after, so roughly a 3-hour stream. Mausch, I pretty much just rebuilt the deck the way I was, the way it was played before the Jeskai Luca stuff was happening, which is the last time I played this kind of archetype. You could probably put Solemn Simulacrum in here and it would be fine, or something. I don't know what you would replace, but Solemn Simulacrum seems okay. Especially when you have 80 cards to fill, there's a lot of options that become pretty plausible. So this is just me doing the extremely basic version of the plan to see if the basic version of the plan seems like a thing that's worth doing. Okay, so they have ECD, but they played it before I had Citadel down. Sure. Do I sack this token? I guess so. I would actually still really enjoy finding a Casualties of War. Another Mire Triton's not that exciting. And I'll keep the Triton and the Goose. My opponent's actually just dead to me sacking Bolus's Citadel. Just playing Bolus's Citadel and using the ability now. Never mind, that's actually really straightforward. Didn't even really notice when they were at a lower life total. Just for fun, I guess I'll play that off the top. But they are very dead. Okay, the oven. And just use this. Oh boy. Yeah, Sad Robot is a little awkward. Citadel does work well with oven stuff. All of this is true. Okay, boy, I am now remembering why I didn't. This deck is so long to play. Whatever, let's try one more with it at least. We might not do too much more with this just because the cat pattern is super tedious. Just want to play enough with it to give all of you, my loyal viewers, the sense of whether you want to build it yourselves. And then we'll move on to other things. Okay, yep, this is an example of a hand that's not nuts, but I'll keep it. It's got my colors. It's got a good setup for a Citadel. Yeah, Peiho, I should actually just be playing Village Rites in this deck. Should definitely be playing Village Rites. Honestly, maybe after this game, after this match, I might just build Black-Green Citadel. See if there's something you can do with like a Zusa plus Village Rites stuff. Like the idea that Village Rites sacrifices spare Zusas, and of course it's great at getting rid of those stupid Arboreal Grazers once you've made use of them. It's actually a great hand to have an Uro. And untap Breeding Pool. That's about, I guess, just Mystical Dispute, because nobody cares about their life total these days. It's disrespectful. This is Flash. I'm going to be annoyed. Don't have one of the hands that's good against Flash here. JFBO. I was thinking of the awkwardness with Citadel just being because it's just because it's like it costs you 4 life and doesn't gain any life back or anything. Like, given that it just randomizes the top card of your library, and it would have been random anyway after playing it off Citadel, it's not the worst thing. It even gives you a chance to play an instant or something. I guess this deck doesn't really have instants. Alright, so Uro's going to get Mystical Disputed if I play it. I'm just going to play Woe Strider. Get a little more power out here. If this is Wreck, I would like to have more creatures actually attacking them earlier. I feel like Reclamation would be will be a challenge for this deck if that's really what's going on. They are pretty fast. Okay, so probably it's Reclamation without red rather than Flash, although this pile of cards that's being played against us just makes it completely impossible to tell what our opponent's actually doing. They are missing land there, so that's cool. Big into that. Burrow's still liable to get Mystical Disputed, so frankly, I'm just gonna go ahead and play out Bastion of Remembrance here, I think. Just keep playing around the Mystical Dispute they've been holding up since turn 1. I'm just gonna go ahead and believe them, and now I can get a little bit of bonus drain off sacking this token. Okay, so it is Temur. We finally confirmed it for sure. Sharks in the water, perhaps. Let's see what we can. What am I looking for right now? Oven, mostly. Another Strider. Actually, I'm in for another Strider. Most rec decks are not running a bunch of main deck sweepers. I guess I can turn Blastome up to 3 and threaten to kill 2 Striders. That's a lot of investment for them to use when their life total is as low as it is. I'm just gonna freely swing here if they have Shark. That's fine. Hey Royce, thanks for the resubscription. First sub of the night. Really happy to see it. And I appreciate that it's been 3 months. Okay, so what's a Shark blocking? Are we getting rid of Strider territory? We are, okay. So, could jam Yorion here. It's going to drain, or Uro here. It's going to drain them for 1. If I hit an untapped land, I can just play out the other Woe Strider anyway. Or I could just do Woe Strider. I'll go Strider. If they're desperate enough to block that with a Shark, I'm into just casting another one. Once the virtual life total is looking pretty low, They're ways away from getting an Uro out of their graveyard, which is nice. Yeah, I should probably just like replace the priests with Village Rites or Solemn or some combination thereof. Priest does not feel like a main deck card in this format unless you're like stealing things and really making excellent use of it. Yep, well, I do not know what was in their hand. Probably like 3 copies of Expansion Explosion. We take those. Thought Distortion, Agonizing Remorse, no thank you, Priest. Citadel seems fine still. Could just cut a couple Mire Tritons. Be on more of a ramp to Citadel or Thought Distortion plan. All I saw was Cat Oven stuff, so I'm going to be really interested to see what their counter suite looks like. Guess they would keep Mystical Disputes just because it hits Yorion and their deck has a ton of mana to throw around anyway. Big question is, do I stick with 4 Citadel? We might go for some sweepers. Could throw off 2 Spiral just because it gets countered by Mystical Dispute, and pretty much the only card I have that gets countered by Mystical Dispute for value. Let's just do that. I don't know if that's right. Yeah, let me do some brewing after this match. I'm in the mood to try building a deck with Uro and see what happens. Yeah, it works. A little awkward in that none of the pieces super work together, but look at that. There's a piece that works with other pieces. So given that, I think I'm just jamming the cat now. I guess they might have Negate and they would not have Essence Scatter, so I could go Oven before Cat. This is the kind of thing where I don't play cat decks enough to have a good intuition about what kinds of counter spells other decks tend to play against you. I just like getting the extra little chip damage in. Okay. Meow. Gotta watch out for Nightpack Ambusher later, but not yet. See if this resolves before you make any choices about what we're doing with a Scry. Okay, they did bring in a gate. Yep, so that play would have been better to go Oven into Cat. Noted for the future. I will take a blue source. And see if this gets disputed. Nope, great. All right, so eventually I would love to run my cat into a shark so that I can play Trail of Crumbs and get it back. This time they appear to have enough lands to actually do stuff. Ooh, is this going to be get a Mountain Scorching Dragonfire that row in response? And they just get 2 for 1 to play my 3-drop? Alright, Second Thought Distortion. Well, could use some lands, that's one. Fabled Passage plus Mire Triton. Gonna get Uro going pretty fast. I like that. Scavenging Ooze, never mind. Right. Now I have to beat this thing. The good news is that Mire Triton holds up just fine against Scavenging Ooze. We don't really have any ways to kill it, which is unfortunate. Reclamation really brings this card in, huh? I mean, it makes sense. It's a good card. You probably should be bringing it in. So, what to do this turn? Get the second blue out for Yorion. It's got 1 green open. Triton just feeds the ooze, which is slightly annoying. I think I just play Trail and plan to activate it, or I could get Yorion to hand. How desperate am I to throw off these Thought Distortions? I'm pretty desperate. I would like to do that before I get Explosioned, ideally. Card sure is expensive. Yeah, so obviously the deck that I built here, which is just exactly as it was pre-M21, is going to need to account for Scavenging Ooze plans out of the board in some way. They could just Reclamation Explosion me this turn. Then I hopefully Thought Distortion them and we're somewhat even. JFB, yeah, I mean, this deck could play Scavenging Ooze. Any green deck, like literally any deck playing green in it can play Scavenging Ooze and has a pretty good reason to consider Scavenging Ooze. It's just that kind of card. Genestra, no. I would call this a pile. I would not call it good. This is me playing Cat Yorion. So Thought Distortion's a sorcery, right? Literally never played with this card. Alright, let's just jam it. Opponent's gonna have a shark, but it's whatever. At least get some stuff, hopefully. Or they have Narset's Reversal and I cry. Would you bring a Narset's Reversal against somebody playing a completely rogue deck? They're gonna kill my cat, aren't they? That's depressing. Okay. That was nice. What did I hit from them there? Sweep, negate, sweep? Okay. So Mire Triton blocks Ooze, and then from there, maybe Yorion just beats them? They do have this Castle Vantress, so we're not anywhere near being out of the woods, and they're gaining a lot of life. So this turn, I'll just Triton. They are going to just get to eat more stuff after this comes into play, but whatever. Nope. All right, good job, Mire Triton. Good job. Gilded Goose. That is, yeah, that's very good with Trail of Crumbs. I'll keep that on top. And Bastion versus Yorion. I'll just get Yorion to hand now. Wouldn't mind my next turn just being Yorion plus Goose. Knowing that I've done this, can now Castle Vantress to find a Mystical Dispute, but we can juke a dispute a little bit. We have other spells to play. Ooze, one more extremely finicky card that just has to keep eating because it's more efficient that way. Ooh, okay. Opponent came prepared. Opponent brought the heaters. Given that we've gotten rid of 2 flame sweeps, I still think the goose is probably going to cook them. But maybe not. Alright, they're just holding up this Castle Vantris. They have no engine right now, so I think I just go... just goose Yorion and then just make a second food. Kind of like that. Yorion is a legitimate threat. Make a second and a third food, that is. Yeah, I mean, the Bastion doesn't really give you that much value, though, Kevlar Man. It really is, it's just like 1 extra token or something, and we don't have any sack outlets right now. I think hitting them with a 4 power flyer for an extra turn actually is a lot more meaningful. I do get to trail that turn, which is a consideration, but my opponent's at 14. I would like to reduce that to 0. I missed if they kept on top or not, so... Okay, nope, just going for this. Alright. Fair enough. They can scry their way to a nice explosion. We could die pretty fast to that. We have some life gain available to us. No Thrashing Brontodons, of course, so we can't really do anything about this. The Fur Thought Distortion gave enough value that I don't mind having the second one. Could also just get Citadel out off this goose and crush our opponent with that. They topped a card. That might be Explosion. If it's Explosion, we're in trouble. Let's see. We may have to end up playing as though it's not. But it doesn't straight up kill me. Explosion is for 12. Another Bastion. Okay. So, could go double Bastion and be ready to sack a food to gain life. Could also go single Bastion, use Trail again. I think I want to use Trail again here. Something like a Woe Strider would be nice. Okay. The good news is if they go for some kind of giant explosion on Yorion, hoping to kill me a little faster that way. Get to Thought Distortion again, which is good. Alright, well if this is anything but an explosion, can't imagine it really being good enough. Given that it probably is one, we'll see what happens. Maybe not an explosion if they're just playing Bone Crusher Giant out here. Okay. What did they top? It was good enough for them to want it, but wasn't explosion. Probably just Shark? Probably just a Shark, right? Huh. Interesting. Okay. Obviously, filling the graveyard with more creatures is not like 100% ideal, but I like the engine potential of that. I've already put a bunch of bad stuff on the bottom with Trail, so I don't want to crack Fabled Passage until I have to. Do I distort now? Would let Yorion potentially get through safely. Yeah, I don't see Thought Distortion ever being better than it is now. So I think I just do it. Show me the shark or whatever. Yep. At least I avoid having to wonder whether to attack with Yorion here. Oh. Oh, wow. That was bold. Okay. They just want an explosion. Seems like good news to me, because now they're in a whole heap of trouble. Yeah, that was okay. Hope they didn't draw another one off the top. I hit 2 more Wilderness Reclamation Cerisium, and that's it. Great. Thought Distortion. What a silly card. All right, that was Sultai Cats. I don't know how to feel about it. I feel like those Wilderness Reclamation games were not necessarily very typical. Your clock is not that fast, but they don't interact very well with your secondary game plan other than Citadel. So I said we were going to try looking at what black-green Citadel might look like. If you want to see people play a deck like this, Jeff Hoagland's been doing a lot of this in Historic. I don't know how much that deck holds true, because I think he's playing like Wayward Swordtooth and a bunch of Explorer creatures. So where are we starting with black-green Citadel? Let's assume we're playing 4 of this. Thing is, we should probably still be playing like Goose Cat Trail if we're doing black-green Citadel. Feels pretty hard to get away from that being like a good idea. But we were thinking about like doing Azusa things, so what would like the Azusa-ish build look like? I don't think we need 4 of those, but let's say we want to get really aggressive. 4 Grazer, 4 Village Rights. Additional lands. Additional land. Azusa is the only one that gives you 2. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Let's say we're doing 4 of that as well. I guess you're supposed to be doing Bond of Flourishing in this kind of deck as a search card plus extra life. Problem is, if you go all out on Citadel and you don't have a secondary game plan, you just lose to a counterspell. So honestly, you're probably just supposed to be doing cat stuff. Let's pretend we're doing cat stuff. See what that looks like. So, not doing Grazer anymore. We're just doing Goose. Those are boring. Might still do Azusa over Dryad. Dryad honestly might just be a better card. I don't really know how often you're playing a bunch of extra lands off Azusa. But Bond of Flourishing would look much better as Trail of Crumbs. So here we go again. Dryad Azusa Dread Presence. That is another thing you could do, I guess. I'm still kind of suspicious of Dread Presence, but it does work out with the Azusa stuff. What I really want is a way to generate like just a bunch of cards going into my hand. What a weird thing to want in your deck. Who just wants to put cards in their hand? Anyway. So Midnight Reaper is tempting as far as just like feeding the engine, keeping that going. We do it like that, and Priest does admittedly ramp you pretty well to get Citadel out faster, but so does Azusa. Maybe we can not do the Priest thing here. Bastion, yeah, Bastion's the card that actually combos and kills them with Citadel. That's a lot of 3-drops, though. It's a lot of 3-drops. Maybe you do want a couple Grazer just to get the 3s out a little faster. Not that any of them are like threes that really get you further as a result. This is already 30. Wait, this is already too many cards. Where to go with this? Yeah, it's weird. It's just like, why would you do Citadel if you're not doing Catavan? If you have Catavan, can you even really fit Azusa into your deck and still do other things? You could trim to like, and you also want a lot of lands if you're playing Azusa. Like, I just don't think this combo really works out that well. Yeah, it's Rizium. Grazer and Azusa, actually, not really a combo. Yeah, I'm like building this and I'm looking at it and I'm just finding myself overwhelmed by apathy. It's just we're building a cat deck and we're not putting Mayhem Devil into it so we can do a cool combo, but the cool combo is reliant on a card that the Jund deck already plays, that people are ready for. So I'm going to name this Green-Black Citadel, but I don't think I'm going to play any of it right now. Azusa, I mean, need bounce lands is strong. Azusa is much, much better with bounce lands. I doubt she'd see any modern play if there were not bounce lands to play her with. So, but Azusa was also an extremely good commander back when 1v1 competitive commander on MTGO was a thing. She wasn't like the best or even maybe in the top 5, but she was like playable, which is a pretty high bar to cross for that format, which was brutal and competitive. But that was guaranteed Azusa every game if you wanted it, which is hard to build around. Yeah, maybe there's some kind of like Azusa draw all the cards with Gadwick deck you could do. But again, like the current ramp engine is just so good that it's hard to figure out why you're not just doing that. Yeah, you could also do Frenzy Azusa. Yeah, Crucible of Worlds. Well, Crucible of Worlds is in Standard, right? Or was that M19? I really don't remember when Crucible came out. No, Crucible of Worlds was M19, so you can do Azusa stuff in Historic, but not here. Alright, so the question is, do we just like go right to Temur Clover, or do we try and like pause somewhere else too? I think we go to Temur Clover. We might go back to playing something else after some Temur Clover here. So other decks I have been like kind of liking are Esper Yorion. Esper Yorion feels weird. It does sometimes just get completely overpowered by green decks, and then sometimes you get their nut draw and they miss a step and you beat them. But I like Esper Yorion still. Blue-Black Mutate's one I've been playing quite a bit of recently. And it's really impressive when you get it all together. But you also, it's one of those decks that like feels pretty good against the big players in the format, but just gets trashed by a bunch of random stuff because there's just a lot of games where you can't beat a Scorching Dragonfire. So this deck is fun to play. We might do a little bit of on stream. If I want to win any given match of Magic, I would still like to be queuing into it with Temur Clover, though. Yes, Sinistra, you are. You summed it up well. A Winota deck. I don't have any of those built, Spoojum. I mean, I do, of course. I have every deck built, but I think I have like an old Mardu Winota deck that's probably just worse than Pawblade. Yep. Thank God for temples. Let me make sure I actually find some things to do with all of this juicy mana. Why, look, there's something to do with all the juicy mana. Don't want that. Oh yeah, I mean, Clover entertains me for sure. Well, this one's gonna get bounced by a Teferi, but that's fine. Just no main deck Knight of Autumns, please. Uh-oh. Do you have an Uro and not a Teferi? Uh-oh. No, they have Teferi. I don't know. What was that pause there, buddy? What was that pause? Come on now. Well, we're not facing Nissa next turn, so we should be fine. Look at that, another Clover. That's nice. For later. Huh. So if my next turn is like Clover, turn after that could be Clover Bean Fey. The question is, am I going to just die by dirtling too much? Let's just do it. This is This is the People's Clover. We're keeping the People's Clover on top. Let's do it. Clover load, yeah, let's do it. I would also really, really love if my opponent was just like, Wilt, gotcha! And I'm just like, Clover, 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 Clover. This Brazen Borrower makes me feel much safer doing this because we're not just going to randomly die to a Night Pack Ambusher coming out now. Clover, Clover? Ooh, okay. Okay, good one, opponent. You really got me with that. Organic chicken, don't say things like that. You know the kinds of experiences. You can infer the kinds of experiences I've gone through with this deck, and I assure you, it definitely can die from clovering too much. Whoops, that's not a Nissa. That's not a Nissa. That really needed to be a Nissa opponent. And yet it wasn't, which is a mistake that you can't afford to make in this kind of spot. Oh yeah, Drunken Vike. Speaking of things that haunt my dreams. This is definitely an interesting spot, though. The old, like, what do you wish for when the opponent has a Tef, but you can otherwise get whatever you want? Interesting. So before I play this last land, what might I grab here? They could go, like, Spiral into Ugin. I mean, I'm definitely getting Escape to the Wilds. The question is, what else? I'm definitely not getting anything that costs 1 blue, so let's just do this first. Okay. 8 another Dispute, so that's good to know about. So we're definitely getting Escape to the Wilds, and then what else? Possibly Tormod's Crypt, just because... Oh, they countered the original Fae. I could just get once
to become
then.
Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Yeah, they're a little ways off Uro, and I have a Brazen Borrower anyway. Let's get once in future. Yeah, I don't have any 1 cards Resium that deals with Ugin. My main way of dealing with Ugin is just that I have no permanents in play. So if they, like, go Growth Spiral and untap and play Ugin, I'm just going to play Escape to the Wilds, and then I'm going to bounce all their Planeswalkers. Notably, they can put Tef in the graveyard this turn if they want to. Still going to be kind of hard for them to Uro. Wetwurst, hey, I missed a follow for a second there, but thanks for giving that. Much appreciated. So now it's Escape. I guess the nightmare is that they have like 2 counter spells or something. That would be like the worst possible. But let's find out. I really doubt it. I really, really doubt it. Yep, not even 1 counter spell. Another mistake from the opponent. So, do I just jam another Escape? This is probably a Shark. Probably making like a bunch of tokens this turn is nice too. Huh. Maybe just like 1 batch of tokens plus a once in future getting back Fae of Wishes? Mistakes left and right. Yeah, I don't know how they can play Bant like this. They're not doing it correctly. Yeah, I don't think we need to play Escape again here. Let's try and play this a little bit less greedy than that. Let's go with 1 batch of tokens to trim the Tef. And then once in future just to make sure we can untap with a Fae of Wishes next turn to clear up any nonsense. So do I get back Escape or do I just get back another Clover? I think it's just another Clover. Clover Fae. No counter spells at all. Not even another Dispute. Okay. Shark Sleeve is horrendous. Oh! Ooh, that is worse than a Shark, buddy. You might think it's better. So this is Bant Flash. That's also informative. We learned something today. Bant Flash means probably no Ugins, but probably still Nissas. When I made these tokens, I like just not dying to random, I don't know, flash creatures and stuff. There will be sharks to worry about. Ooh. They really should have just gone Knight of Autumn, bounce Knight of Autumn, kill the other Clover. I don't know what that was about, but sure. Oh, do they have a Nissa as well? None of this matters at all. They're dead as a doornail, but okay, Scavenging Ooze, cute. Real cute. I want to kill their Teferi actually, so I'm gonna take this. So I could just go Clover Fave Wishes for Storm's Wrath. I've got a lot of stuff over here I need to use for stuff though. I have no creatures in my graveyard. My opponent can eat their own Uro to keep Scavenging Ooze alive. Let's start with Clover, see if this gets countered. Okay, how about... Yeah, I'm actually genuinely curious to see if... So if I hit their Knight and their Ooze, they can also eat their own Knight at some point. Let me actually just play Escape to the Wilds. This will solve the question of whether there's a counter spell in there or not. I don't know like what it is I'm worried about. There's like nothing they can do in this position, but whatever. Now we'll double stomp targeting Knight plus Ooze. See if they're willing to eat their own Uro to keep this Ooze alive. Had we targeted the Ooze first, they would have been able to eat their own Knight of Autumn. Ooh, they did it. They did it, chat. They ate the Uro. And this means we get to have the Sophie's choice of... Actually, no, just gonna wipe out this Tef now. Oh, Drunken Vike, yeah, there was a time when I started to play a bunch of blue-white Blink, like blue-white old school Thassa Blink before Yorion, because it was like really good against Rakdos when Rakdos was the most popular deck. And let me tell you, it is extremely miserable to play any kind of sensible value deck against Clover unless you can kill Clovers. What's horrible for our opponents, they even came in with the main deck Knight of Autumns, like they really did come in with the tech. And it's just not, it just doesn't matter at all. Partly because our draw was just completely clownishly nuts. Oh, we have another land here. Look at that. Could have played another Clover that whole time. Cute. Got a Brazen Borrower you want to show me, buddy? I could have quintuple blocked it, so it just died anyway. But if they do have a Brazen Borrower, I'd actually rather them just use it now, just so I know about it. Is the joke that it's too low drop cat? I'm playing at the resolution that minimizes my chance of crashing, hopefully, because you know what's really bad for playing Temur Clover is when you crash. That's the absolute worst. Alright, how are we killing them now? I'll start by bouncing all their things so I get rid of this shark and stuff too. Yeah, Dropcat. Not doing low resolution just for the fun of it, but trying to turn off as many effects as possible and such. Because even on a high-powered computer, Arena is still going to Arena. There's probably someone just somebody who's like a scientist in their day job and has access to a really powerful supercomputer who is out there somewhere and can actually play Arena at full resolution with no crashes, and they're doing like Arena the way it's meant to be played, and I would love to see their stream sometime. Stop. I don't need my graveyard for anything. I already cast once in future opponent. You don't need to keep eating the graveyard cards. Or maybe they're just desperately trying to get to the point where they don't have to have ooze triggers tempting them either. In which case, I would respect that. Alright, 6, 11 mana. Let's just get Fling so they know we have Fling. This is lazy, I could have played the other Clover first, but whatever. Let's just let them know that we have the cards that beat them here. Cards in the library. We're at plenty of cards in the library. No need to worry about that. How's the Temur Elementals for Clovers, Cedar Santana? Probably fine. I mean, there are a bunch of different builds of Temur Elementals. It's probably pretty even if it's like any of the Temur Elementals matches I've been playing before the new cards came out. I don't think Temur Elementals got any really substantial upgrades. Even Ugin isn't really that bad for Clover to fight against. Opponent's really in it to the last here, huh? I will give them the good game because this is a little silly. All right. Yeah, the Temur Elementals is sort of like, sometimes you kill the Risen Reef with a Stomp, and they take a little while to get their stuff going on, and they can't kill you very fast, and you just kill them. It's like, you're very much the aggro deck, you're trying to race them because their endgame out kind of beats your endgame. But it's like, you're just trying to fling 15 damage at their face, and they're trying to like kill you by overloading you with stuff. And Temur Clover's pretty good against fighting people who have like large amounts of stuff. I'm actually being silly here. No reason to do any of that. Just fling them to death. Are they going to be able to Scavenging Ooze me? I'll bounce their Scavenging Ooze first. There we go. Found the line. Found the line. Yeah, Terror of the Peaks is like, it does hurt you to hit it, but the nice thing about Elementals is they don't have any pressure to go with Terror of the Peaks. So you taking 3 damage off of hitting it's generally not going to matter too much. And anything that dies to a double stomp and costs 5 mana is like a pretty good thing for us to see. Or gets bounced by a single Brazen Borrower. But I haven't actually played against the deck, this is just my best guess. I think my opponent's just trying to waste my clock, but they're like wasting more of their clock. Okay. So, flash stuff. Given they're running Tef, if this were regular flash, I'd probably be bringing in like Ether Gust and Disdainful Stroke because Wolves early are the main way you lose to that deck. Given that they're Bant Flash, I think having any counter spells in is a little silly. I should probably just be playing exactly what I'm playing, so could also think about boarding out an Escape to the Wilds, 1 copy maybe. They are more of a tap out deck. Green once in future. This is also pretty bad against Tef though. Actually, on the draw, I'm okay cutting 1 Escape to the Wilds and bringing in 1 Gust, we'll say. Yep, Snow Monkey, they were probably just waiting their whole life for that. Or waiting and waiting since Scoo's rotated out of Standard last. It is interesting to see which cards actually do maintain their power level. Like, you could look at probably every card. Well, I was going to say every card in the old Jund deck where people played Scoos and find that almost all of them are unplayable, but I think that deck had Bloodbraid Elf, if I remember correctly. And Bloodbraid Elf would still be a extraordinarily good standard card. So this is the other half of what our deck does to their deck, which is turn 1 Innkeeper. You better have a Glass Casket or you lose. Do you have a Glass Casket? No. Okay, that is something. Here it is again. Temple, just looking for adventure creatures to play. Certainly not that. If they tough bounce it this turn, I'm just gonna, yep, go get a nice land with Beanstalk Giant, play Innkeeper again. I guess they could then shatter Innkeeper, and they'll finally have it off of their back, but meanwhile I'm ramping like crazy, so fine by me. Technically didn't need a shock there, should just play the island. Alright, have you got the shatter for the lone Innkeeper? Oh, they finally casketed it. Alright, good job, opponent. Good job. That'll last until I get a Brazen Borrower, but good job. You've temporarily stymied me. Let's do this. And this gets disputed, which is whatever. Yeah, this game's gonna be more interesting than the last one because they did find the combo of things that finally got rid of it. Every Brazen Borrower releases it, though, which is nice. Definitely don't have any artifact removal on my sideboard, which is a little sad. Oh, look, another one. Okay. In that case, why don't I just start... I could Fae of Wishes to bait a counter. The counter they have is Mystical Dispute, then we're not really even baiting a counter. Let's go with this, actually. Beanstalk, see if this gets countered. Nope, great. And I have Fae of Wishes. I think I'm going to grant it here. If this gets countered, then next turn I can just play Innkeeper into Beanstalk Giant. And if their plan is to have Nightpeck Ambusher, then I just get to... Alright, so I can grab Escape. Or I can grab something that potentially deals with Nightpack Ambusher, like a nice Storm's Wrath. Let's take Escape. Ooh, opponent made a mistake there. That's not a Nightpack Ambusher. I think opponent meant to have a Nightpack Ambusher there, and they forgot. So that's going to hurt. They have a Nissa here, maybe. They don't have a Nissa here. Can't keep missing your cues like that, buddy. It's not going to work out for you in the long run. Alright, so now what do I do? Could Innkeeper... The Shark inclines me a little bit toward wanting to play Fae of Wishes. Let's start with Innkeeper, see if they have something to say about that. Nope. Okay, so we're not going to play out Beanstalk Giant because they've got a Tef on 4 loyalty. What I think I'm instead going to do is just stomp the Tef. If they counter this, I could resolve Escape to the Wilds. If they don't, Tef doesn't get to activate for a turn or so, and I get to play this now. Might as well play around Quench, I guess. Another Bone Crusher is going to be nice against the Brazen Borrower, maybe. We're just keeping Tef down a bit longer. Opponent can't really Ugin. They're probably not running Ugins right now, even if they maybe have some in their 75. Because Glass Casket kind of turns off Ugin as a plausible thing to do. They can like plus Ugin. But by next turn, that's not going to really be enough. Ooh. Yeah, this is good most of the time. Not good here. Not good here. So Escape to the Wilds does resolve through Mystical Dispute. So I think I just start there. They might have Negate. They did not have Negate. Another mistake. I'm making so many mistakes. Okay, now what? So I think this is Clover Bone Crusher here. If this gets countered, it's fine. Nope, they're just on nothing here. I see. What's the actual play then? I think I'm just gonna stomp Teferi to death here. I can't really kill Teferi with any of my other stuff, and none of their creatures are very threatening. Benetti, are you a Worm fan, or did you just like find that command on the list and you're like, what the heck is this? So if opponent has another Tef, they can go Tef, bounce, Knight of Autumn, Temur Clover. That's an Uro. I imagine they have enough. Wow, not even enough cards in the graveyard for Uro. So unlucky. So unlucky. Well, thanks, Benetti. As a fellow fan, I'm glad you're doing your part to raise the number of Wormers. Wait a second. I see what you're trying to do, opponent. And I'm not gonna let you. I'm not gonna let you. Nice try. Oh yeah, Bant is. I mean, I'm not immune to this kind of thing. I have tried to play these Bant ramp decks before, and it just feels like, I don't know. It feels like buying art from a hotel room and putting it up in your house or something. Might be like a good. Here, this is your exercise, chat. We're gonna do some creative writing right now. Please tell me. Please tell me what it is like to play Bant ramp. Just tell me what it's like. Tell me what that's like. This is the writing prompt. So my submission is playing Bant ramp is like going to a hotel, buying art out of hotel rooms, and then putting it up in your house and looking at it. That's what playing Bant ramp is like. Waiting for your party to be ready to leave the house. I like that. Well, Kevlar Man's too literal. It's too literal. We gotta go for simile here. Buying photo frames from Walmart and replacing stock photos. That's a good riff. A good riff, Cerizium. This is good. Yeah, Temur Clover is really good against Bant ramp, by the way. It's Bant ramp. Alright, well that was good. Keep going. Ooh, okay. Sitting in the dentist's office and listening to the drill from the lobby. This is great. Keep going. Keep going. Tammy, I want to hear your submission. Unless you're doing doctor things right now, which you might be. Yeah. Almost glad we're on the draw here. Growth Spiral and only 2 lands, a little awkward. I'd actually be super happy to see another land right now. I don't think I want Bone Crusher as much as I just want lands. I got Lovestruck Beast and Brazen Borrower for defense. I just want to make my way to Escape the Wilds quickly. Please be Bant Ramp and not Wilderness Reclamation. Please be Bant Ramp and not Wilderness Reclamation. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Huh. I don't even think this turn's supposed to be Clover. I think this turn's just supposed to be Growth Spiral. Yeah, Clover doesn't really do anything for me right now, so I'm just going to respond to their Growth Spiral with a Growth Spiral. I'm going to look like Team Reclamation here for a hot second. Still need those lands. Actually, probably should have waited and tried to bait out like a dispute or something. But they're just going to play Teferi this turn, so who cares? Unironically choosing to listen to Top 40 Radio. Alright, so play the Tef and plus it. Because they think we're Wilderness Wreck. Great, love lands to help me find more lands. And now, surprise! It's Temur Clover. Surprise. Being interviewed for a job you already know you got. I feel like you didn't get the job though. I feel like playing Temur Clover against blue-white control is like being interviewed for a job you already know you got, because it's boring, but you know what the outcome's going to be. Band Rampers, the band's t-shirt to the show. So. Okay, so if the opponent has a Nissa this turn, things get slightly tricky, maybe. They do not have a Nissa, they have a Scavenging Ooze. Color me somewhat unimpressed by that. So do I just try and jam Escape here? I don't super see the need. I think I just go for Clover, see what happens. See if they have a veto for this or something. Nope. Alright, and then do I burn the Borrower? They missed a land drop. Yeah, just cast Lovestruck Beast, honestly. Yeah, Lovestruck Beast is really big. It defends well against Nissa. It could get Ether Gusted, but I don't care. Bant Rap is asking the Prom King what his favorite cards are. I like where that positions Croakies. Choosing to repay. Okay, I think Drunken Vike. I think Drunken Vike might win. Playing Bant Ramp is choosing to repaint a room in the same color it was before. If somebody wants to do like an extra special favor and write down all of these, and then you know, tweet it to me or something, like send me a DM or something, I would be really appreciative, because I would love to share some of these on Twitter. I like that we can have fun here, even while our opponents are deliberately choosing not to have fun for reasons I honestly can't fathom. One thing about Lovestruck Beast is it does leave us slightly vulnerable to Elspeth Conqueror's Death, in that it gives Elspeth Conqueror's Death an actual target, but then I just play Escape the Wilds. So if they'd had an Nissa, they still should have played it, so it looks like they probably don't. Alright, question 1 on the test. What happens if I do this? Are you giving up a... What kind of resource are you giving up? Okay, you're giving up a disposable shark. That's fine. Gonna leave blue up here. Actually, I'm not gonna bother to leave blue up. I just want to play another Clover off of this. So they probably play some kind of permanent next turn. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, another thing that makes Clover really, really nice is if people start playing main deck Scavenging Ooze. I wonder if there's a world where Scavenging Ooze becomes popular enough that like Once in Future is no longer the thing you want to be doing out of the sideboard, and you have some other draw spell in that slot instead? Probably not, but you could like kind of get some mileage off Commence the Endgame, maybe? Still not the same thing. I think I'm just going to ask the same question again. If they have an even bigger shark this time, then good for them. Go for broke. I mean, just if you ever have choices to make in your games against this deck, just try to make the choices that make the most sense against potential Nissa Crisis, I guess. Like play Lovestruck Beast earlier than you might otherwise. Focus on having a good board, even if it maybe means that you're like a little bit behind on mana development, that kind of thing. If you feel like you can't beat a Nissa if she comes down. There'll be hands where you just have like multiple Clovers and a Bone Crusher and you just stomp Nissa death, and that's fine. But sometimes you might just want to be like, you know what, I'm just going to play Bone Crusher this turn in case they have Nissa. So normally I get a pile of counter spells here. Of course, Tef limits that a little bit. I could get a pile of counter spells plus Red Cat melee, then they can just counter the Red Cat melee, and it's still awkward. And given they have no pressure anyway, I don't feel any reason not to be proactive. Asian Atheist, what do you mean? Is it looking all? It looks pretty clear to me. Like I'm looking at my little screen here, which shows what's on the stream. Are people having resolution issues? So, yes, it's probably not once in future here. Gust for Nis is an option. Tormod Script for potential Uro is an option. Expansion Explosion just draws a lot of cards. That's kind of an option. Oh yeah, that. It's just been really finicky for a while. Sometimes it seems fine. Let me know if that fixes it. It sometimes gets that way. Actually, I will take Once in Future. Because I have a Brazen Borrower that's going to probably go to the graveyard when I use it, Once in Future is going to actually have some useful targets, maybe. And then I think I'm kind of down. I'll just take Domer's Ambush. Domer's Ambush is a good answer to Ugin. Yeah, Domer's Ambush kill Tef was not really what I was going for with that. I mostly wanted like some insurance against like a Nissa or an Ugin. I assume my opponent probably has a Mystical Dispute in there, so I'm not going to count on Domer's Ambush actually resolving. Oh yeah, that, yeah. So definitely, this is also a thing they could have had. Domer's Ambush is just really fragile there. Yeah, so this is all cute and stuff, but next turn I get to play Escape to the Wilds and then cast Once in Future. Derail. Yeah, this is another card that Temur Clover just eats for breakfast. I love Derail. You know I love Derail, but he is bad against the kind of things we do here. Okay, so opponent's leaving up possible Ether Gust mana, possible Eat All the Things with Scavenging Ooze mana. All these cards are in my hand. None of them are here from Escape to the Wilds. Let's start with Clover. So Clover, bounce all their creatures. They have to use Scavenging Ooze or lose Scavenging Ooze. And eventually we'll probably have enough stuff in the graveyard that Once in Future will find use. Unless they're burning a lot of mana on playing this and exiling my graveyard and stuff. I'd love a Beanstalk Giant one of these days. So far I have targeted just that. I'll also target this. Whoops! Okay, I thought I had resolved all three copies and accidentally double targeted something for a second there. Scary! Alright, in the graveyard we have... Wait, there's an Escape to the Wilds in my graveyard. Do I just want to get this back before it's... Yeah, let's actually just get the Escape to the Wilds back. Get some use out of this before it's gone. Keep on trucking. Wow, and this deck doesn't have Growth Spiral in a row. They did have a Growth Spiral. Didn't matter. Alright, so Tef plus Jarail does give our opponent a little bit of defense. Also worth noting that this thing absolutely does counter Domer's Ambush, so we can't just Domer's Ambush if we think we're going to get phased out of time. What I can do now, though, is just thin my deck out of all its lands and then play Escaped Wilds and hit a Bone Crusher Giant and end the game with that. So that's kind of the current plan. Hey there, iPhone fan. Okay, Brazen Borrower. So I think I'm just doing that then. Let's just get rid of all the permanents our opponent worked so hard to put on the battlefield and put them somewhere else. I don't actually want to bounce the Tef, I do want to kill the Tef, so I'm not playing the other Clover first. Yeah, it feels like a lot of the things that Bant Ramp did make the deck better, but also made it much worse against Clover. Like, they're doing cute Tef stuff. They're running fewer main deck Ether Gust now, I think. Like, cards like Tef and Scavenging Ooze and Joel Rail all just, like, line up super well into what Clover wants to be doing anyway, which is getting rid of every creature the opponent plays. And then I've already hit Jarail, so we're going to hit this thing. Okay, so now we finally get to kill this thing. It's been a while. Tef hung on for a long time. And I'm just going to play a Lovestruck Beast, just have pressure against a potential Nissa. The rest of these cards will last for a long time if I want them to. I would really like to see, so for those of you who don't know, there's something called the Future League, which I think was, they got rid of when the play design team came along. It's basically, there's Wizards of the Coast when they do their play testing before sets come out, which they do. Burrow aside, they definitely do play test these cards. When playtesting happens, there are people whose job it is to like look at the themes in the set and try to build decks around those themes and see how those decks look. So I'm guessing that when Eldraine was being made, people were playing with like, okay, here's what a Knight's deck would kind of look like. Is the Knight's deck too good? Is the food deck too good? That sort of thing. I'm really interested in what the Future League was doing with Lucky Clover. Like if they realized that all these cards are just really good together, if they realized that like Escape the Wilds was going to be in the deck. Like trying to find the Fae of Wishes build would have been really hard because at that point you have no idea like what cards will even be possible to fetch from the sideboard, let alone what cards people want to fetch from the sideboard. Yep, Drunken Vike, that's also true. Okay, so Nissa just dies to Domer's Ambush, is not a threat. We're gonna play Tef as well here. Bant Ramp really only knows how to do one thing. To be fair, this makes the Domer's Ambush thing not quite work. But, oh, Brazen Borrower. Yeah. Yeah. Let's just do this then. I just want to kill Nissa. I'm not interested in bouncing Nissa. Oh yeah, I could have played the third Clover and bounced Nissa. Part of me just wants to kill Nissa. And not give back to them to play again, because Nissa is one of the only cards they have that I care about at all. But the game's pretty much over at this point. I'm just kind of taking random game actions until my opponent gives up. I assume we'll see Lovestruck Beast get phased out. Yep, no surprises there. And now we'll just go this, this, this. The nice thing about Beanstalk Giant is that Ugin can't get rid of it unless Ugin also dies, which is very satisfying. I have plenty of lands. I don't need to play the Stomping Ground from Exile. I'd rather just scry. I have, what, 2 basics left? 2 basics? I think I'd rather just find Fey Wishes as soon as possible to end the game. I don't think I need another Beanstalk at this point. Very much so, Zweck Dog. I am with you on that. Even if they do have a Shatter for the board, and then maybe a counter for Escape the Wilds, they still have to just deal with 3 Brazen Borrowers. All of which I can play on the same turn as I play Escape to the Wilds. That's always a sad story. Well, I think the opponent's doing a pretty good job of trying to defend themselves, at least. Trying to make sure they end each turn having established some kind of board position. Always keeping Tef Master of Time in place that can phase out the Lovestruck Beast. Like, that's all good stuff. Just gonna make sure Small Tef dies. Probably should have actually sent 2 1/1s at this Tef so that if it phases out Lovestruck Beast, I just kill it anyway. Alright, well, game's gonna end any turn now. Any turn now. This is still game 1? Goodness gracious. Okay, we only have the 1 land left, because there's a mountain in our graveyard from discarding hand size before. That's fine. The fact that we got rid of their Tef now means I can actually start wishing for counter spells, which is going to be the death knell for them here. Also just draw some Bone Crusher Giants and stomp them to death. I've been a little low on Bone Crushers lately. If I hit another Bone Crusher, they die, right? They definitely die if I hit another Bone Crusher. I have enough red mana for that, so we're going to try and hit another Bone Crusher and just kill them this turn. That'll do it. That'll definitely do it. Okay. Octuple Stomp. Just update the stream title real quick, reflect that I am in fact playing Temur Clover. Same plan, no sideboarding, who needs it? Let's go. I tried to get away from the cat deck to play something that was less exhausting, and just there's so much happening in every one of these. What I want to play against is the mono black deck. I was talking to Brad Nelson on Facebook today because he asked me if Temur Clover was playable. I said, it seems good against all the random aggro decks. And he's like, well, I lost to mono black with it. I'm like, I feel like that matchup should be really good. Of course, you can lose to a really good matchup, but I do think it should be a really good matchup. Ooh, yep, can't do this one. That is much better. Loving of One Mind here. In fact, I'm going to bottom the forest. Just hope that we can get turn 1 Innkeeper, turn 2 Fae of Wishes, turn 3 of One Mind going. Puget Sound. Traditionally, Temur Clover beats the snot out of Simic Flash because Innkeeper is a card they just can't stop in a reasonable way. You just have no answer for it on the play or the draw if you happen to have one in your opening hand. And I don't think that any of the cards they play really feel like they would change that too much. Ooh, so do I play Fae of Wishes and draw a card here to Stomp Derail? I'm just going to Stomp Derail. Just get out of here. None of that. The sack matchup has never been that bad, honestly. Like, it was bad back when they played Croxa. Croxa is really good against Temur Clover. But, like, current red-black sack lists, I feel like that matchup is pretty even. I assume we're getting Ether Gusted here or something. Or whatever. I actually kind of don't want to put that on top right now. Or do I? I kind of need lands. Kind of just need some lands. So we'll just play this. If they then have to bounce the Clover, I'm going to be annoyed. But if I draw a third land, I can just draw 2 cards with this. Untap Temple Garden, interesting. Okay. Huh. I think I'm just going to cast Bone Crusher Giant here. That gives me the option to go tokens plus of one mind next turn, plus like more tokens. I don't just want to cast of one mind, it's really vulnerable to getting Mystical Disputed or something. Obviously, Bone Crusher Giant could just get ECD'd. But they would need another white source to do that. If I get a 4th land next turn, I'm probably just going to double face so I can hit Tormod's Crypt and make sure Uro doesn't get to come out next turn. Yeah, let's just do that now. I'm really not looking to get Uro'd at the moment. I could counter the Crypt, so I want to get something else that... Could get Unsummon for Uro. Could get like Ether Gust. Get Domri's Ambush. They'd have to counter the Fae, and then they could cycle a Shark Typhoon in their graveyard. It feels like they have a Shark Typhoon. Let's get Escape the Wilds, whatever. And then an attack, because if they have Shark Typhoon and they kill Bone Crusher Giant, I would absolutely love to then Tormod's Crypt them. I just really don't want Crypt to get countered here. Alright, here's Crypt. It's possible I've been too lazy against the possibility of an Uro. Never mind, that's great, that's great. Fairy Time Raveler, sure. Not very important. Okay, so opponent has a lot of mana, but they have nothing going on. No pressure. But I still feel fine about this game. Also, it's a Beanstalk Giant, which is a really good place to be now. Really good place to bean now. And now I think I just go double token Fae. It opens up of one mind, gives me a blocker for a Nissa land. I don't want to use the double stomp yet. Killing a Teflon 1 loyalty is hardly worth it. This might also provoke a Shatter, which would be nice if they had one. Sinestrid, are you punting Wizards of the Coast? Don't ruin my punt count by punting Wizards of the Coast. Or did I screw something up at some point there? 7 Death the Kid, you're looking at it. Look at this card. It's like Soul Guide Lantern, but it costs 0 mana. Yeah, Tormod's Crypt is actually a substantial upgrade because when you need it, you really need it. Like, I imagine just having this cost 0 makes the cycling matchup somewhat better just by itself. I actually took Ugin out of the sideboard. I just never was doing anything with it. It didn't seem very good. Okay, so before anything else happens, we're just going to of one mind. They could have a shark, but whatever, I want Tough to be dead. The standard metagame challenge. If you know how to play Temur Clover, I think Temur Clover looks pretty good into that. If you don't, you should probably just play this Bant Ramp deck. I mean, if you don't like this deck, you shouldn't play it. I've been playing a lot of brews, and none of the brews have felt all that exciting. So I don't really have anything superb to recommend that's like spicy. Yep, Torment Script also, I'm sure, great in Karn sideboards. I would love, before Karn rotates, I would love to find a good Karn deck. Just don't know if losing all the sideboard slots is worth it. Like, it is genuinely nice. So I'm going to play this. They might have a Shadow the Sky or something, but this way I draw a card off Shadow the Sky. I'm not going to make other tokens because I think Shadow the Sky is a pretty likely card for them to have. They still can't get a row back now. Okay, now they can get a row back, so I'm going to draw my card, and then on their upkeep, I'm going to crypt that. So they managed to get a lot of lands early, but they will not be Urowing us anytime soon, and now we have ramped up to meet them. Yeah, that seems correct for best of one for sure. Maybe I just need to play some best of one to have a better excuse to do Karn things. Because I love Maze Mind Tome too. I think Maze Mind Tome is a sweet card that I maybe should be playing in my Yorion deck somewhere. Do I do Escape the Wilds? I guess they could have a counter for it. But if they do, I guess I'll do Lovestruck Beast stuff. Let's try this. They have the counter, good job. They did have the counter, that was their last card. They do have Castle up still, so the game is in a little bit of an interesting spot. They're going to need to get like a lot of good stuff off the castle, but if they hit like a Krasis for next turn, then we've got ourselves what looks like a pretty even game again. At least until I get another Escape or a Fae of Wishes. The Manticore. Yeah, I mean, I can see that if you're fetching it in a position where it's a good card to have. This matchup, Bottles? Oh, it's a really good matchup. It's really, really good. They did top something, so is this going to be Krasis? Smells like they're counting for a Krasis. Yep, and they are not messing around with making it small. Fair. All right, now we've got ourselves a pretty tight-looking game. You're going to need some answers to Beanstalk Giants, but they do have plenty of those. I could attack with Lovestruck and all the tokens, but I think I'd rather use this Bone Crusher Giant to kill a Nissa or something like that. It is Masticore, yes. Yeah, it's possible that running out the Escape that turn is greedy, and I should have just gone another direction with that. I guess we are going to die to this Krasis in 2 hits, huh? I think I didn't appreciate that enough. I should have actually tried to kill the Krasis there and see if they would have gone for the block on Lovestruck. So now I need to hit Brazen Borrower or Fae of Wishes or Escape the Wilds. Or like Innkeeper into some combination thereof. I guess I could also hit Clover and then quadruple stomp the Krasis. It's another option. Or another Bone Crusher. Alright, many, many, many roads to Rome. So so the ooze can eat 3 things. They've got 3 green over there. Start here. I do like that if they're eating stuff, they're not castling. This might actually have been wrong. Maybe I should have sent every stomp at the Krasis. Yeah, I definitely should have. Alright. There was no way to really be certain that I was going to be able to kill this thing. Yeah, I'm going to have to burn a Bone Crusher here. Should have sent the extra stomp at F, maybe. Krasis is down. Hopefully. It does do more clock damage, that is true, and our opponent is actually, I haven't been paying attention to their clock, but it is pretty down. Spiral. Okay, that is no Castle of Interest for you then, buddy, which I like. They are close-ish to Uro coming out. Huh. Them being close-ish to Uro coming out makes me wonder if I should be bothering to try killing the Tough here. I think I don't. I think I just go face with Lovestruck Beast here. Leave the Tough in play. Play a Beanstalk Giant. And hide the last card in my hand. I guess the opponent knows it's a land now anyway. Okay, there's that card. You're gonna need more of those. Currently brings back just an Uro for a card draw, nothing else. Tamio! Alright. Okay, could really use some action of my own here at some point. They're bringing Krasis back, no surprises there. Does mean I just get to kill Tamio, which is nice. Brazen Borrower would be absurd here. Oh, hello. Hello. Alright, let's see if the opponent's last card is another veto. Oh no. Oh god, that's annoying. Alright, well we've still got a tense one going. God, that's annoying. Okay, well, hit you. Gosh darn it. Well, they got us pretty good with that last veto, and couldn't have even tried to scare them off of Ooze there. Ooh, they ate their own Uro in order to save Scavenging Ooze. That is fascinating. Okay, Tamio's dead then. Here's Beanstalk Giant. Beanstalk Giant means that Fae of Wishes can go get Shadow Spear. Actually, I shouldn't have played Bone Crusher. That was bad. I should have waited in case I drew a Dwelling Keeper. Might as well play this. Not fooling anyone here. Yeah, I should have waited on this in case I drew Innkeeper. If I draw Fae next turn, I just get to get Shadow Spear, at which point I gain so much life that a lot of things are no longer really threatening to me. Actually, Expansion Explosion just kills my opponent if I can get rid of the Tef. If I draw Fae of Wishes. They could be looking for Ether Gust off this. What's probably going to happen is I'm just going to draw land and die. But we'll see. Brazen Borrower is still good. Wow, just goes for it. All right. Well, do need that Brazen Borrower, that Escaper, that Fae. And Lovestruck Beast won't do it, so we did lose that one. Opponent's down to 9 minutes. All right, so the opponent had the vetoes to keep up with the escapes there. Nothing we could have done about that, I'm pretty sure. I should maybe consider bringing in once in future against this deck sometimes. You do get some long grind fests like that, but honestly, I think we just have to do our thing on the play here, and hopefully our opponent's not gonna have the scry into Krasis and then a double veto. Yep, there we go. So now we have Innkeeper, but now the Innkeeper's in the play. If I don't hit a land next turn, I'm just going to play Fae of Wishes to make sure I can hit that third land drop and keep the cards flowing. Temple of Abandon, so we'll just do that. Still interested in lands, less interested in Borrower because I can't cast it yet. This does open me up possibly get Glass Casketed. But I still wanted to get this out so I can play a 3-drop next turn. And it's just Derail, so that's fine. So now there's the ever-present question of do I just stomp Derail? I still think I do. You're really never going to get more value out of a single stomp than just doing that. Opponent didn't have Casket last turn, they probably don't have it this turn. Ooh, Shock's in. Have they got the Casket? They do not have the Casket. They do have the Ether Gust. Very well, very well. This time we're going to put it on top and keep it there. Just need to make sure we're not shuffling the deck with Beanstalk. Lovestruck Beast versus Bone Crusher is tricky. Actually, it's not, because I know I'm drawing a 1-1 next turn, so Teft does not scare me here. Lovestruck Beast is much better against potential Nissa, so that's what you go for. If they do have Nissa, my course of action will depend on what land they untap with her. They have an Ether Gust here, like if they untap Breeding Pool, things are dicey. If they just untap a Forest, then I can just Fae of Wishes for Red Cap Melee. Okay, the fact they untap that is tricky. If they have another Ether Gust, things get hard. What I would love to do safely here is just Fae of Wishes, grab Red Cap Melee, kill this land, kill their Nissa, and have Innkeeper waiting for the low resource game to follow. The thing that doesn't work against if they have an Ether Gust to just stop the... I can get Unsummon, actually. Unsummon's better. Yeah, I think... I'm just going to hope they don't have the Ether Gust. I'm just going to go for the kill on Nissa here. If they have Mystical Dispute, then countering this Fae means Nissa just dies because they have to tap this land, which can't block anymore. So let's try this. Please just be Growth Spiral. Please don't be a second Ether Gust. It was nothing. All right, Nissa down. No new Nissas. Cool, cool, cool. Guessing they don't have counter magic for Innkeeper. Let's just hit them with Lovestruck Beast. And the token. I'm down to hit them with the token. If they have a Shark, whatever. They don't have anything. Cool. So we could run headlong into a Shatter here, but I don't really care that much. If they do have Shatter here, I draw a card, and they're going to need to follow it for Beanstalk Giant. Oh, look. Another Innkeeper. Wonderful. Stop the scry. Interesting, interesting. So, Innkeeper Beanstalk, easy. Opponents at 6 life. They need to stop Beanstalk Giant somehow. Even if they play a Krasis, the Krasis just has to chump block. Scavenging Ooze has to chump block. Okay, so we'll play Temple first to make sure Beanstalk Giant's big enough that Scavenging Ooze can't gain life to avoid having to chump block. Bottom that land, probably look to get Fae back this turn. Let's start here. If it only had 1 green mana, or if there was only 1 creature card between all graveyards, I could have stomped Use in response to the activation to kill it, and then just kill them, but that was not going to work as a play here. Yeah, I'm down to cycle through the Bone Crusher here as well. I'm just going to stomp them. Oh, that was wrong, actually, because now I can't play this and save Fae for another Shatter. That was wrong. That was wrong. I'm just going to pass the turn here. So shouldn't have stomped them. Should have just played Bone Crusher, drawn the card off of it, and then had the mana for Fae. I forgot that I already played a land this turn. Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Can't beat a Beanstalk. Has to just -7 to clear Beanstalk Giant. Oh, you love to see it. 7, baby. What you gonna do? Yep, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay, so now I just get to wish for Escape to the Wilds. Not like some weird way to deal 5 damage, right? I have Fling. I can put my opponent to exactly 1 with Bone Crusher Fling. So that's cute, but I'm just going to go Escape. That's a good set of things. Okay, that's finally an Uro, so that does get to come out. I guess if they have Uro followed by Dovin's Veto, this could still be kind of tricky, although I do have a Beanstalk Giant to stop Uro from attacking unless they have both Dovin's Veto and Elspeth Conquers Death or Tef. Well, the game's not over. Great rips for me now include Brazen Borrower, as well as Edgewell Keeper, Escape to the Wilds, Fae of Wishes, the usual stuff. Okay, they don't have Dovin's Veto. They could have Ether Gust, but they definitely don't have Dovin's Veto. Start here, just because this is a very good chance of hitting a Brazen Borrower for me. Like one of those, okay? And now we just do borrow this. Actually, hold on. No. If I borrow that, I can't Clover and Beanstalk, and I really do want to Clover and Beanstalk this turn. So looks like I'm going to lose Bone Crusher Giant, but that's okay. And we at least fight through Mystical Dispute with this. Okay. So that was an annoying little interlude, but our opponent got a couple cards on their turn. We got like 9 on ours or something, so it's fine. Growth Spiral, of course, means they can just play Uro and play it out of the graveyard again, but then the graveyard will finally be empty. Oh, interesting. That's a weird decision. I guess they wanted to hold up a counterspell? Oh, they probably have Dovin's Veto for Escape to Wilds here. But that's fine. Well, show it to me first, buddy. Oh, Ether Gust. Yeah, I'll put that one on top, thanks. So I do want to play Grafdigger's Cage this turn to stop Uro from coming out, so I'm going to not play... Oh, darn, I miscounted my mana by 1. I absolutely could have played that Clover first. Oh well. So Cage. Once in Future starting to look good again. I could also just get Expansion Explosion. Oh, opponent's at 13 over there now. So Beanstalk Fling is still very lethal. I want to get that, though. What are the odds of actually making that resolve? I will take Once in Future. Yeah, I could get Fling if I think it's going to resolve. The question is it going to resolve? Flings essentially cost 9 mana, so it's an expensive thing to invest in if I'm not sure whether it's going to work or not. I'll actually just get this. Explosion is like incredibly bad for them to let resolve too, and I can be a little bit more picky about it. So I'll just play Cage. Play this other Clover at a very awkward time, but whatever. Maybe Kellerman. Consider that they have a Tef in play, so I also need to kill the Tef. So expansion can't be played if there's a Tef in play, and I can't play in response to removal because there's a Tef in play. So all these plays would require me getting rid of the Tef. I could have wished for like Red Cat Melee Fling expansion, which works unless they have another Tef. I don't know. Just being extra secure here. Yep, yeah, Krasis is not going to get the job done. So we've got 7, 9, 14 mana right now. 14 mana. There's the borrower I was looking for, so we just get to reset their board. Octologist once in a while, depends on the situation. What do I have in the graveyard here? I've got a borrow, I've got a bunch more escapes. I could just get unsummon if I don't want to send the Tef back. If the Tef comes back, I can bounce the Cage. I could just Explosion the Krasis and just draw... I don't have quite enough mana for that, though, do I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... No, not quite enough. I could Explosion the Tef and draw 2 cards that way. I don't have to care about the Krasis being in play right now, though. So let's actually do this. Let's just put out a giant board of stuff and force the opponent to like Ugin or Shatter. Get rid of their own Krasis for me, I think. I'll just save Brazen Borrower for next turn. And no rush. We'll just play Innkeeper to reload the hand at the same time. One's also down to 4 minutes over there. Ooh, another Fate of Wishes. Okay, let's do that then. Now we'll just go get the rest of the sideboard. I can get Crypt. Oh. I legit lost track of time and thought I already crypted this game. Weird. Okay. This time I'll get Fling. Also going to pick up Domer's Ambush to pick off annoying Planeswalkers they might have. And I could get Ether Gust to clear the Krasis. I'll just get Ether Gust, sure. Play Crypt. Didn't need to crack that yet. Could have waited for them to bounce Cage, but I honestly don't care. Yeah, in the Bant Ramp matchup, Octologist, I don't board anything in route. Yeah, it's just that's one of those cards where like I'm really not in any rush to set the combo up. They have no pressure. I'm just going to rebuild my hand since I had the Innkeeper there. If I didn't have the Innkeeper there, I'm not sure I would have done the go wide thing. I also have Brazen Borrower, so there's no way that blockers actually save them here. Yeah, lots of options. Lots of options there. Just going for big Krasis again. I think they may not fundamentally understand how unhelpful that's going to be against the borrower. Can I block this? Keep my life total somewhat higher? I don't care. No. No, I don't care about that. So this turn is actually pretty straightforward. I'm just going to attack them down to fling range and then fling expansion them after killing their Tef. I don't think any combination of cards keeps them alive. Okay, so this game really hinged on that one turn where we were able to kill the Nissa. If they had had a second Ether Gust, we were probably going to be toast. But since they didn't, it was pretty simple in the end. I feel like you could actually set a pretty good music video to, like, whatever we're doing here. I'm a big fan of Caro Caro Bonito's song Bounce. I feel like we could be playing Bounce, and that would be a good TikTok. Nom 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 nom. KKB, Testium. Kosick, really the big thing to think about when sideboarding is just, are you playing against the kind of deck where you're actually going to have time to get your sideboard cards. In like aggro matchups, I'll tend to board in a lot of stuff because I don't think I'm going to have time to wish for stuff because I'm just going to be playing Fae as a 1/4. Team Reclamation has a fast enough clock that they're kind of like an aggro deck, and so I bring in some counterspells against them because, again, I don't expect to have time to wish for the right kinds of interaction early. So, like, leave Mystic Repeal because it's cheap to wish for, but I'll bring in counterspells because it's a whole extra mana to wish for and cast a counterspell. I did not test TM. If I played video games, I'd be excited about that. But I guess I'll be excited to hear the soundtrack. Alright, so those were some marathons. We still have time for at least one more match here, but maybe something other than Bant Ramp? Also not Team Reclamation, also not Team Reclamation, also not Team Reclamation. Bug Snacks absolutely sounds like the title of a Caro Caro Bonito song. Okay, good. Not Reclamation. Ooh, if this is Yorion Foretold, I will be interested to see this match. Thanks, Sofa and Bottles, Wilderness Reclamation. Wilderness Reclamation, Growth Spiral, Teferi, just all the stuff. You know, I'm tired of the same stuff. Even if I build decks that are good against, like the Tef decks and whatever, I'm still tired of them. I still don't want to see them anymore. Alright, so I'm assuming this is the Doom Foretold deck. I think I'll keep a Borrower. Hard to say. Could also be the Elemental deck. I guess either way, I think Borrower is a fine thing to have. Okay, it looks like it's just Elementals then. Sure. Yeah, if I thought they were definitely going to have Leafkin Druid this next turn, I would just play like a Forest and then plan to like bounce the Druid. Having only 1 mana being spent this turn instead of 2 is a tempo loss. Oh, it's Sultai. Okay, Sultai, Orion? Fascinating. Okay, well, can't say I know what's going on. Let's just hold some Borrowers up. I do like your job. I'm just really happy that in the midst of all the darkness and fear that kind of had characterized Standard for a while, that we actually got to see Burglarat show up in a top 8 level deck. I just moved to a new office, and it's gotten really dark in here. I should actually turn on the light. That snuck up on me. Alright, I was starting to get kind of glowy. Fun fact, when I was in musicals as a high school student, I would sometimes blind people when I was out on the stage, because light just reflects off of my face in that way. Opponent's on 4-colored Cultivate Yorion. Well, I have no idea what to expect. I'm just going to keep holding up Borrower, I think. That way they can't play a Nissa without the Nissa getting attacked to death by flyers. Got a couple stomps here. I'm just going to try and keep things aggro. Glass casket. Sure. So... Now what? I guess if they just go after Borrower, I don't care. They can have Borrower. If they go after Innkeeper, I have to think about whether I'm casting Borrower in response to that. They just went after Borrower. Fine. That is absolutely okay. Glass Casket also tells me that Ugin is not going to be as much of a thing to worry about. Okay, so potential sharks. Opponent does not respect Edgewall Innkeeper. Good golly. Respect Edgewall Innkeeper. My goodness. Alright, well, if they're that desperate to kill my random dorks, I guess we'll just keep playing random dorks. Not going to escape this turn. If this deck is the deck I think it is, which is the Brad Nelson deck, I think they're pretty low on counter spells to stop Escape to the Wilds. I don't remember if they have Casualties of War. Hey, Bottle Brush. I'm glad you were. Also, I realized I thought you were actually on the channel for a while now, and I just confused you with Bottle's SSBM. Teferi, Master of Time, is going to die, which is excellent. Do enjoy just killing these when they come down as free value. I could just like go all in at my opponent or something, but you just kill the Planeswalkers when you get the chance. Okay, so opponent has cast a 4-mana Faithless Looting. And I'm just going to get Escape down. I am not so trusting that the aggro plan will actually work that I want to do... Oh man, I've one mind. Just can't cast it. I'm not so trusting that the aggro plan will work that I'm just going to devote myself wholeheartedly to it. They could just have a Shatter next turn or something, for all I know. This could be Casualties of War. They could actually pick off a Clover with that. But I don't really care. Yep, looks like Casualties. Are they finally going to respect Innkeeper? Sultai Clover. Yeah, I think just losing Escape Wilds is too much. I think we finally arrived at the point where Murderous Rider may be better than Bonecrusher Giant, just maybe. But the Escape the Wilds problem is kind of insurmountable, I'm afraid. Interesting. So this turn, the sequencing's a bit weird because of how Of One Mind works here. I could go Clover, Double Stomp, hit with Innkeeper, cast Bonecrusher, but after all that I can't actually cast Of One Mind. Oh man, interesting. Well, I definitely want to play Clover out. I guess what I should actually do is probably just play Brazen Borrower, hold the stomps. Yeah, let's do it this way. I don't think I'm going to need a bunch of bounce. I guess they could Uro me here. Can they Uro me? Do they have enough blue and green mana? They can Uro me if they hit like an untapped blue or green source. Let me go for this. Lets me hold the stomps. If I draw another Clover, then the stomps are going to be extra damage. Do I play Innkeeper out? Do I think they have a sweeper? I don't think they have a sweeper. I'm going to say they don't have a sweeper. I'm going to play this Innkeeper. Maybe that was just super greedy. That was probably super greedy. I probably didn't need to do that. Yeah, Bottles, I mean, does that line of play just lose you access to... I feel like that line of play doesn't work with Of One Mind. Like, you just don't get to play Of One Mind. I guess the idea is you're just going all out aggro. Which I could see. And the Tef. Alright, well... This line, if they bounce Borrower, they do manage to stay alive, to their credit. Bounce Clover, that does not keep them alive. Okay. Turns out it didn't actually matter. I didn't need to play out those clovers. It was BM for no reason. There was no reason to BM there, but whatever. Oh no, Bottles. My goal is to play Of One Mind. Are you playing this deck to win? Huh. I guess that's something you could do. Alright, so 80 card deck. Given that I play Glass Casket, I like Borrower more than I usually do against this kind of deck. I think I'm down to cut one Bone Crusher for a negate here. They're less likely to have Teflon 3. Negate stops Casualties of War, which is a big deal. They have a lot of removal for Innkeeper because of the 4-color nature of their deck, so I do have to watch out for that. Don't want to just play Innkeepers out in the open unless I can get value off them right away. That hand didn't have enough lands to play Of One Mind, so obviously I can't keep it. Goodness. Goodness gracious. I'll keep. I don't think we're... I just think we never win this kind of game going to 5. So I'm just going to hope I hit a forest early and can do an Innkeeper curve out. Nope. Alright, well we might scoop this one pretty fast to move on game 3. Yeah, I could see 28th land being correct over Growth Spiral. Yeah, I'm just... One more turn. I'll give it one more turn here. Yeah, I tried the new Ugin in the sideboard. It was okay. It didn't blow me away. I found that I often just wanted expansion Storm's Wrath instead of Ugin in a lot of spots. Alright, now we're just gonna scoop because can't play any spells of note. So let's try that again, but with green sources this time. Maybe that's my punishment for BMing. Maybe I just deserve that. Alright, well, that's a lot of green sources, to be fair. We'll start with Temple of Abandon because I really don't want to hit another land, and I can just go Innkeeper Lovestruck on turn 2. Actually, no, I'll Lovestruck on turn 1. That's an extra point of damage. Well, I guess if I Temple and hit Clover, then I'm going to really want to Clover next turn. So I'll Temple because it slightly boosts the chance of hitting a Clover for next turn. Yeah, perfect. And we don't draw that Forest, which is great. Much better. Okay. Do love this 4-color deck's mana is much, much, much worse. Makes it way easier to get these aggro wins. Okay, that was weird. That was not a play I understood at all. Okay. I think this is just Bone Crusher Giant this turn in the interest of continuing to draw cards off of my Innkeeper. They could have Shatter. Yeah, this card is very smug, but it's a kind of smug energy I can appreciate. Oh, Extinction Event. Alright, that's much better than Shatter. Now we've got ourselves a game. Makes sense to play that. Let's go with Spiral into Lovestruck Token. Yeah, Spiral into Lovestruck Token works. There's a lot of Brazen Borrowers that I can't use yet. Later. This stops Nissa from messing me up. Yeah, I didn't get it either, Sofa. I guess Extinction Event was not going to wipe out that token, so they got rid of the even mana cost creature. Your mana is looking hecka weird right now. Okay. Another extinction event. And they are not risking me having another 1/1. Alright, so that's several extinction events down, which is good. Do I just keep the offense going? I think it's... Huh. So I could have Stomp cast Bone Crusher, put them to 8, facing down 5 power. But also, like, Beanstalk for a blue source. Let's do this. Let's Beanstalk for a blue source and just plan to cast Borrower into their turn. Gives me the option if they have, like, a Nissa this turn, I can just go, like, bounce the Nissa, stomp them or something. Okay, they have Nissa. Actually, how am I responding to Nissa here? I think I just play Borrower and keep hitting them or something. Yeah, I'm gonna let you do that. Yeah, I'm just gonna cast Borrower here, I think. Another Borrower. Interesting. So do I just go at my opponent's face, hope they don't have a Krasis? They can't Shark me, they can block this 1/1, and then I'll stomp their land. Never mind, we're just doing this then. We're gonna go with bounce the Nissa, stomp the land. I guess if they have Ether Gust, I'm gonna feel silly. But they didn't. Should have stomped that first in case they had Ether Gust. Alright, got another extinction event, buddy? It's gonna be close. Ah, Escape the Wilds helps a lot. Escape the Wilds means maybe less close. Okay, so I think I just attack them all out and then bounce Nissa again. That seems about right. Just keep forcing them to have the same turn over and over again as I kill them. Yeah, perhaps, Kevlar Man. That's like kind of a clunky way to go about it. Yep, that's what you get for playing 5 mana permanents. Nissa's not just bad because of ECD, she's also bad because of good old BB. Glaze, look at the chat and what the chat's been talking about. I encourage you. There you go, you got it. Okay, so we do this, we have 7 mana, Beanstalk puts us to 6. Ooh, this is tricky actually, so I could... Yeah, I think I lose Innkeeper because getting Domer's Ambush to kill this Krasis and hit my opponent to 2 is like way too tempting. I could play Innkeeper and just get Red Cap melee though. Never mind, that's better. Okay. So you're gonna use this. Grab a Red Cap melee. And I think just fling. Melee the stupid Krasis. Get out of here. Sack a forest. Play the Innkeeper. Chunk. Aggro. Definitely have been in the Nissa position of like you keep playing Nissa and making a 3/3 per turn and it's somehow not enough. This deck does play Thought Erasure, so Fling is not necessarily perfectly secure. But like Nissa into Big Krasis doesn't work. It's got to be Nissa into Big Krasis plus interaction. Really glad they haven't hit an Uro yet this game. I guess they've only been through 19 cards. Ooh, Kanye. Hello, for one, and for two, good prediction. That is what happened. Which Planeswalkers do I like? Ooh, that's a good question, Zweckdog. And since we just hit Diamond there, that is a perfect undefeated record tonight. Perfect undefeated, can't beat Clover, nobody beats Clover. Which do I like? 4-mana Vraska, as I think comes to mind as being my favorite Planeswalker in the current standard. Actually, just really into 4-mana Vraska. I think she's a cool card. I think she's really well balanced. In a better world, you'd be seeing me just play 4-mana Vraska value decks all the time on stream. What other Planeswalkers are there? We really did. The fact that if you had told me there was like a green-black sacrifice-based deck and it didn't even have 4-mana Vraska in it, if you had told me that after she came out, oh my goodness. I would have been confused. The Simic version of Clover Kosick, I think if you had asked me before Scavenging Ooze came out, I would have been like, maybe Simic Clover is about as good as Temur Clover and better in some spots. Now that Scavenging Ooze is out, I think that Simic Clover loses a lot of its, a lot of what made it reasonable. Like, that deck was always like, Clover stuff, plus you got Uro. And if your Uro is just going to get eaten out of your graveyard a bunch of the time, it's definitely not worth it. Planeswalkers, what are good Planeswalkers? Let's do this. So what are like good designs here? Like, honestly, most Planeswalker designs are pretty good, right? It's just the ones that are not good because they're too powerful that are the ones you notice all the time. Elspeth Sun's Nemesis. This is a sweet design. I think Elspeth is really well balanced and like a fun card and uses escape really well. What else? Davriel. I'm fond of Davriel. I always want this card to be good because it seems like it should be super broken if you can activate it 3 times, and it just never is. Like the new Liliana design. Big fan of Tybalt. I like that Tybalt's basically a less obnoxious version of whatever the dinosaur is that stops your opponents from gaining life. Tybalt's a somewhat more balanced version of that effect. Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. This is a really nicely designed walker. Big fan. Vivian Reed. Not in standard anymore, but I do like Vivian Reed. Yeah, those are all examples. Sorin, Vengeful Bloodlord. So many cool. There are a lot of cool Planeswalker designs, but they're all just a little weaker than the big 3, big 4, whatever you consider the big number to be. Lil Chandra's great. That's also true. Tameo's great if it weren't for Wilderness Reclamation and Nexus. I think Tameo and Bant is fine, but her design was a little too awkward when Nexus was around. All right, so we got all the way to Diamond 4, which means we're at the rank floor, which means we can have the last match of the night be something fun. So I'm not going to run a formal poll. I'm just going to see what people are into, but decks that we could run include Esper Yorion, Mono Green Stompy, Blue Black Mutate. We could just do Clover again if people really want to see Clover again for the first match of Diamond 4. Yeah, let's have it be like roughly those are the ones I'm interested. Mono Green Stompy, Blue Black Mutate. Could do Blue Green Jarail if people want to see that too. But like, what decks are people interested in right now? Brad Elementals, that's just Temur Elementals. It's not that exciting. So I'm not going to do that one. Kanye says, play some trash. What's the worst one? Of the ones I mentioned,
We need to become
Blue
Aaron
Black
Girdler
Mutate's
tonight.
probably the worst. MTMTG, thanks for the follow. Second to the night. Also, if you haven't followed and you enjoy seeing undefeated Clover content, hint hint, don't forget to drop that follow. I stream 3 nights a week, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, all at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight. That's the goal.
Right. Probably Blue Green Jarail and Blue Black Mutate are equally about equally bad. What's the worst deck in this whole pile?
We need
here?
to become Aaron
Obviously,
Girdler
VTCLA's
tonight.
rule deck.
That's the goal.
Just kidding. Sam Black's Black Green Rock deck is pretty bad.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
All the times I tried to put Jolrael in Temur Adventures and it was bad. Herring Harvey, Najia, Ansky, thank you all for following. No, it's not a hint, Kanye. Oh, black-green clover. All right. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. I've now decided. So
We
it's a deck
need
that
to
wasn't even on the
become
list.
Aaron
I
Gertler
have it
tonight,
built
chat. That's the goal.
somewhere in here. We are going to play black-green adventure. All right, so let me look at this deck. Pain Chest, thanks for the follow. I like Sublime Epiphany too, but it's really just a blue-green ramp deck that happens to play some copies. It's not that exciting. So, Black-Green Adventure Knights, one of the decks that I wrote a very long Reddit post about once upon a time. I firmly believe that when all the Oko decks were focused on beating other Oko decks, this deck did legit just have a positive matchup against all the Oko decks. It was really atrociously awful against Fires, though. And so because Fires was a deck that some people played, you couldn't really afford to take this to a tournament. Nowadays, this deck gets horribly outvalued by things like Uro pretty easily. It's harder to get people just dead with random life loss off of Smitten Swordmaster. Something I've considered doing is trying to just make the Reaper of Night combo a thing. Now that we don't have Once Upon a Time anymore, we gotta find something else to fill the slots. So Lucky Clover into Reaper of Night can discard your opponent's whole hand. The problem is if you discard your whole hand and they just play an Uro out of their graveyard, unless you immediately have Murderous Rider as a follow-up, you sometimes just get nowhere with that. But this is the perfect deck for doing fun stuff on the ladder. Just like fun ladder stuff. Lovestruck Beast, I don't know about whether we want this in the main deck or not. We could just be running some Midnight Reapers or something in this spot. I might go 2 and 2. This is good for the beatdown side, but not so good for the grindy value side. But Midnight Reaper's not that good either. Alright, we'll just run it as is. I'm going to put some lands in it, of course, that fit. I'm going to put a sideboard in it, I guess. Actually, we'll run some best of ones with this. There we go. I don't want to build a sideboard. I don't care. So we'll just put some lands that actually are dual lands. I don't like Fatal Passage very much. Alright. Does that do it? I think so. 20, 28, 32, 35. Perfect. All right, we got ourselves a best of one deck, folks. Can Ooze go in here, Bottle Brush? Yeah, Ooze would be in the sideboard of this deck for sure, because it actually gets to have a real sideboard, unlike Clover decks. His force count's probably a little too high. So we have 12 green 1-drops, only 4 black 1-drops. It's fine. I like limited sometimes. I love Cube. I definitely love Cube. Jam Cheville in it for no reason. Nah. Traditional standard, so we're looking for standard ranked. Bant Adventures. Where did I put this deck? Here it is. All right, Black Green Adventures. Let's double Reaper some people. Yeah, brought over Scooz might. I think the main deck slots are a little tight right now. I'm kidding, they're not. I just built an old deck based on what I like. All right, yeah, this is what we came here to do, I guess. Order of Midnight. Creatures don't really ever die anywhere. They just get bounced and exiled. They do get shattered, I guess. Yeah, Z-Twig, having some great henges in here would probably be good. Which reminds me a lot of a combo I would like to make work at some point. Daybreak Charger Great Henge. It feels like there should be something there. Or there should be something about like Daybreak Charger comes in as a 2-mana creature that can have 5 power until the end of the turn. I don't know what you do with that exactly. Alright, I'm sure everyone is surprised to see it's Mono Red. We're playing against Mono Red. This is certainly a mood. Mono Red with a Ferocious Pup sleeves. Alright, so the perennial question, do I play Lovestruck Beast or just kill all this shit before they play him? Oh, what's his face? Lovestruck Beast it is. And hit him? Nah, 1 damage isn't going to matter too much here. Hey, thanks, Tiki Rev. I appreciate the sincerity of that and the simplicity of that compliment. It's not fancy here, but we just try to have fun and make jokes at the expense of Band Ramp. This is interesting also for me because I feel like I'm now experiencing what my wife experienced. When my wife started to play Magic, she started out with the beginner decks, of course, and then, we bought some cards. And eventually she sort of like meandered her way toward having the cards for Black-Green Clover. And I knew how to play that one, so I was able to teach her how to play it. And we built that one together. And am I just killing both robbers? I guess I'll just kill both the robbers. I might be sad if they have a Torbrand, though, so I'll wait and see if they have a Torbrand before I do that. There's Anax. Alright, so in response to you... If they have Embercleave, I'm still going to have a super hard time beating Embercleave. Still think I just kill both robbers. I don't want to give my opponent a pile of Satyr tokens. Doesn't really appeal to me. That's the first robber. This hits the second robber. Yeah, I think, the last time I played this deck was before Anax came out. There was mono red back in those times, but before they had Anax Cleave, the matchup was much easier. Another land. Alright, I did remember to put the lands in here, right? Sure I did. So we're just going to go Murderous Rider into... Just cast one of these because it gives me more Swordmaster triggers, and I do need to kill my opponent at some point. I'm going to really hope they don't have a Cleave. Torbrand's fine. We can handle Torbrand. Sure. Huh. Yeah, if Murderous Rider didn't go to the bottom of my library instead of my graveyard, I might actually consider throwing two things in front of Anax just so I could buy everything back with Order of Midnight. But this is fine. Okay, Incubation. Alright, so we have a bunch of ways to play this turn. I like getting Lovestruck Beast back and making tokens this turn, I guess. It is going to make Order of Midnight die, but that's okay, I think. I do have enough mana to do Incubation as well, so let's Incubation first. Reaper of Night's a little late, but Smitten Swordmaster looks great. And in fact, let's do this instead. Let's just do this instead. I'm going to play Order of Midnight, and if I just double Smitten, that's 12 damage. 12 life for me. I could also go like Smitten, play Smitten, and then Smitten again, and then... Never mind, that's actually better. So we're going to do this. Oh, it's been so long. It's been so long since I did this. Synergy, I accidentally hit full control. Pow, 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 pow. Nice Torbrand. Nice Torbrand. Should have gained more life. Alright, so... Just gotta make sure this thing dies. I guess Murderous Rider, in theory, I should try to keep alive. This is how much damage? That's with the Embrith. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 damage. So even if they have Ember Cleave, I don't die to Cleave, right? That goes on Torbrand. Torbrand hits me for 10, 3, 3, 16. So this is safe. Cool. All right, no problem. Beautiful. All right, I should also Definitely change up my stream title here at some point. Stop trying to use all my black mana. Gosh, darn it. Good game, opponent. Nice. All right, changing stream title. We have moved from serious standard to jank standard. MTG BSL. I hit diamond just now on the stream, and so I gave the chat a choice to propose my next deck, and someone suggested Black-Green Clover Knight. So we're playing that in best of one with no sideboard, just for fun. It's definitely fun. Definitely fun. Undefeated Clover Knights. Yep. Gotta remember how the sequencing with this deck works. Now, Foulmire Knight plus Lucky Clover, that is like the old school Fae of Wishes. Look at that, it's mono red again. What a coincidence. Who'd have thought we'd run into this one so often? No, we saw some non-basics. They went to the bottom of the deck, but they were in there. They were in there. All right, I would love a swamp right now, though. Just give me a swamp, and then I'll discard my opponent's whole hand, and then, uh-oh. Uh-oh, I think we're going to lose to mono red. I think we're going to lose to mono red because we only drew basic lands. Don't want to use Foulmire Knight yet because it makes it easier for them to activate Robber the Rich. There's Anax. Alright, so they're going to get Robber either way. Might as well just get the card draw done here. We're already too far behind, probably. I should put more swamps in this deck. This deck is extremely swamp hungry. I guess theoretically we're not out of this yet. If I just go with a Lovestruck Beast and they don't have an Ember Cleave, this might hold them back for a little bit. But yeah, the mana base is super messed up. I need to go put in like 2 more swamps and cut some forests. Definitely do want 4 Lovestruck Beast here, though, if we're going to be seeing mono red in best of 1 every time. And honestly, it's possible that Incubation should be Adventurous Impulse. That's something I was considering before. Alright, Anax now officially... Oh, they have Murder Strider, don't they? Yeah, we're dead to that for sure. Alright, we'll go fix the mana base, make sure the non-basic land's actually saved. No longer undefeated. But it is lovely to play without worrying about if you're winning or losing. Yeah, such a weird thing. Alright, let's get some sleeves on this. This deserves sleeves. Oh, sleeves. This is the sleeve I always used when I was taking this deck to number 2 on the standard ladder back in Oko times, so we're going to, of course, be doing that. And we'll add some more swamps here. That can pretty easily survive without forest for a while. Can't really survive without swamps. I don't know why I did that. I mean, honestly, Nightmare Moon, if you look at it in a certain way, Nightmare Moon is the original Ginger Widow. Whatever that means. Wait, does this deck have 64 cards? How did that happen? Wait a minute. Oh, I just added a bunch of swamps and didn't actually cut any forests. There we go. 14 green sources. Darn, I need some fabled passages, don't I? Totally do need some fabled passages. Ah, sad. And 25. 25 land still seems about right. All right, we'll go for one more best of one game, and then we'll hit the 3-hour mark, and I'll probably wrap up the stream here. This is nice. Maybe this can be a ritual. We always end the night on some kind of fun jank deck. Maybe even best of one, just so losing does not crush me on the ladder as much. All right, Order of Midnight is so much worse than Brazen Borrower, but it does fit nicely into an aggressive curve. I wonder what our opponent is playing. With a show tune. Maybe we can get some show tunes if any naturally come to mind as we play against... Look at that, mono red. Maybe there's a convention in town. Oh, wow. Oh, if I knew the Music Man better, I could totally do mono red to the tune of Monorail. But I really don't know Monorail at all. That is the Simpsons parody of the Music Man. Mono red, all we see is mono red, mono red. All right. You want to race, buddy? You want to race? I'll race. Let's race. Chunk, chunk. Am I dead to Embercleave if they have it? No, I'm not dead to Embercleave if they have it. That's... Alright, so we beat Embercleave pretty easily here. And I honestly don't see what else really gets our opponent out of this. Maybe we won't do too much best of one, or maybe if we do a bunch of best of one, I'll just bring in my all the different Griffin Airy decks that I built on the first during the first M21 preview stream and haven't gotten to play because Griffin Airy is really bad against decks that are at mono red. I don't think that, well, okay. And Swordmaster is interesting. Yeah, there's nothing that really gets me out of this one here, I think. Good try. Lame is, yes, well, it is somewhat miserable playing against this deck again and again, but ka-chunk. Perfect. All right, nice clean 2-1. Ooh, there you go, Tiki. Black, the dark of ages past, red, a world about to dawn. Black, ending mono red at last. All right, so okay, that was what it was, and now we vanquished. That game took 4 minutes. The stream's not even over yet. All right, let's do one more. Let's do one more. Tammy's not home. We got nothing to. No reason to do anything but play Magic. Let me find my old Griffin Airy deck and just see if we run into mono red one more time. I might tech a little bit against mono red because Griffin Airy still does not beat Embercleave, not in the slightest. Where is that deck? Where is that deck? Here it is. Bant, Yorion, Griffin. Charming Prince, Griffin Airy, Omen of the Sea, Maze Mine, Tome, Land of Originary. This is too much like a real deck. I want more life gain. I get more life gain in here. Actually, I could just go. Probably want to go Orzhov, right? If I'm doing Griffin Airy stuff, let's do this. Conan. Oh, the mana's not a problem. I mean, you could play Temur Clover before the Triomes came out, and I do play Temur Clover without Triomes. I just don't see why you would do Dun Adventures. Like Murder Strider is not that good. to make up for the loss of Fae of Wishes. Fae of Wishes is really key. Alright, so we've got ourselves Griffin Airy. 4 copies of that one, please. Basilica Bellhaunt, one of my favorite cards in Standard. Get to play that one. Charming Prince, of course. Oath of Kaya, of course. Kaya Orzhov Usurper doesn't really turn on Griffin Airy, so probably not. Revitalize, we're not quite going that deep. Hey, Tiki Rev! Thanks for sharing emotes with folks. Could go Bant Griffin Airy, but taking a bunch of damage off lands sort of defeats the purpose. Four Life gives us Maze Mine Tome, which I guess I'll play some copies of. No. I guess Speaker of the Heavens is a good meme against decks that aren't trying to attack us to death. Oh, Archon of Sun's Grace, of course. There we go. Might as well. All right, best of 1 Griffin Airy. This took more time than I thought it was going to take. But now you get to see my expert level process here. This is where the decks come from. This is how it goes. And one more of these, one less of these. No. Yes. All right, that's a deck. Nah, we're not going to veto. Our goal is to beat Mono Red here. We're just coming to beat Mono Red. A 1/3 for 3 mana does not beat Mono Red. Yeah, Birth of Meletus, maybe, Kevin. That could be a thing. Definitely better for memeing against Mono Red. All right, we'll play one game, whether or not we're against Mono Red. This is, of course, going to be when we hit Wilderness Reclamation and die. Go Orzhov Airy. Okay, that's... Ooh, Shark Sleeves and a Tezzeret Avatar. Ooh, we might have bitten off more than we can chew here. A Forest. Forests are cheating. All right, what do I want? I want double white more than double black. Yeah, no, veto is much too weak, I think, to see playing Rakdos Sacrifice. Any card that's only good when you're already doing Cat Oven things is like, oof. Oh, no, chat. Oh, well, we deserve this. We're just going to end up on the rank floor. End up right on the rank floor where we belong. Alright, Elspeth Conqueror's Death's not bad. We could still just get them with value. If they're like friggin' Wilderness Reclamation were dead, if they're like a regular old blue-green deck, maybe we can do something here. Yeah, the Solemn Simulacrum doesn't work at the goal of beating Mono Red. This deck was just to meme against Mono Red. If I were building actual, factual, black-white, Griffin Airy stuff, I would go in a different direction. Okay, cool. That's fine. So not Wilderness Reclamation, you say? Yeah, Z-Twig. No, Solemn is actually probably a card that the black-white decks should be playing in like best of 3 serious standard. So I think you're right about that. Let's nail this one down. Goodbye. Okay, yep, back to normal. So we are gonna need to hit that 5th land. Gonna need our opponent not to have a Krasis. Doesn't smell like Simic Flash to me, just feels like a Simic ramp deck happening to play Baron. Yep, I'll take that one. And Bellhaunt versus Archon is interesting. I think I play Archon. It's got the better. If they have another Baron, though, I'm gonna wish I played Bellhaunt. I'll just play Bellhaunt. This card's Brazen Bar. Right, maybe it is Simic Flash. Who knows? If it is Simic Flash, they're not going to hit me with a Krasis right now. I'll actually be able to beat this Nissa. Okay, I can beat that. It's not good, but I can beat it. I got Yorion and a Doom Foretold. I got Elspeth Conqueror's Death into Yorion here. And the fact they went for minus means I get to actually eat Nissa next turn. And then save Ugin for later, which is great. This also means they probably don't have a bunch of counter spells. I'm not going to use Maze Mind Tome yet because I know what I'm doing next turn. I'd rather save it until a turn when I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. Alright, goodbye to Nissa. I guess it's more likely I have another Nissa than another Ugin, so if they play another Nissa this turn, I'm going to be sad. I think I kind of still want land drops off the tome. Especially since I'm about to bounce it and I'm about to be able to draw cards off it. Well, that's annoying, but possibly still beatable, but I don't think actually still beatable. I think I can't beat the other Nissa. Let me scry in case there's something I forgot about. Fabled Passage. There's no card here. So the math here is unfortunate. I either remove Ugin and... oh no, wait, I can... Maze Mind Tome gains me life. Maze Mind Tome gains me life. We can win this. We can win this. I shouldn't have cracked that Fabled Passage because I actually do want to land next turn if I'm going to win this one, but... So now I scry, look for a land. This goes away. Charming Prince. So I'm about to bounce ECD. With Yorion, I'm going to eat the Ugin. Our opponent draws nothing. They hit me down to 4 with Nissa. They have 3 lands left. I then play Omen of the Sun into Charming Prince, linking Yorion. Yeah, Charming Prince is good enough for sure. Charming Prince is definitely good enough. Opponent needs to draw nothing relevant next turn, but isn't that just always how it is? Thanks, opponent. Your second Nissa was also very nice. Really hoping that's the pause of someone who drew a land and is trying to decide whether they attack or not this turn. Oh Oh, yeah. Bring it. Bring it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't you dare. Okay. Okay. If this is a fucking shark, then I can't afford to attack Nissa. What are the odds they just ripped a shark, though, right? Right, what are the odds they just ripped a shark? There's no way. There's no way they just ripped a shark. Okay. They keep pausing. I don't like the way they keep pausing. Oh, if they have like a counterspell or something, I'm incredibly dead to a counterspell. I probably can't beat anything that interacts in any way here. But that's okay, because Tammy's home anyway, so this is a good time to lose the last game of the night. Come in. It's Tammy, a rare Tammy sighting. You want to hide behind my head, Tammy, so I don't see you? I'm trying to hide you behind my head.
Why were you both moving?
I don't know. Alright, so I'm just playing Omen of the Sun here, so I can blink with Yorian. If they counter this, I'm dead, but if they had a counter, they were always going to counter this. There was never a time we were going to get it down without it being countered. Tank, 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 tank. I don't understand what's happening at all. All right, good night, everybody. That's it for me. I'm here all week. Well, at least it was my favorite blue card in M21, Sublime Epiphany, that did it to me. Can we get some Aaron O'Nose in chat? Thank you, Tammy. Nice pause, opponent. Nice pause. Okay, well, it's time for me to spend the evening watching television with my wife. That's enough magic for right now. We end up perfectly at the diamond rank floor. After all that waiting, yes, I'm sure Flavio MTG88 had lots of fun, and that's what matters. When we actually want to climb again, we'll probably be playing Temur Clover because, good lord, was that deck on fire today. Thanks for hanging out this long, chat. We're going to find someone to raid, and then I'll be on my merry way. I legit don't even know which sad moment this is. But thank you, Kevlar Man, for presenting the clip. We're gonna stream here before we get echo. All right, I see that. Oh, for a second I saw my favorite Pokemon streamer was about to have you all go raid Pokeaim, but let's raid. Ooh, Oliver 2 is playing. Oliver 2 almost never streams. Let's go raid Oliver. Great player. Good young man. Q-Tang Clan. All right, Oliver raid time. Off we go. Raid starting in 5, 4, 3. Have a good night, everybody. 2, 1. Off we go.